was a dark November day. It was a Sunday in November. Dvorak was back in California and Curry in Texas. But the prognosis was not good.
You know, that's funny because that relates to a clip I have.
Oh, really? Well, then I'll keep this one handy just in case. And we're good to go.
Although your thing, that's a little more dramatic than mine's more subtle. But anyway, hit it.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, November 24th, 2013. Time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 568.
This is No Agenda.
Presenting the only podcast that is peer-reviewed from the Travis Heights Hideout in Austin, Texas. Good morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I can sound happy, too, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Yes. However, you can do it and then say, and here's Bon Jovi.
Saying here's Bon Jovi.
Yeah, but it doesn't work when you say it. It's not the same thing.
No, you said I couldn't say it. You didn't say it wouldn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right. What do you mean?
Why would I want to introduce Bon Jovi?
Are you accusing me of being a puker?
You were a little happy-go-lucky in that opening.
Well, I've been sitting here waiting for you.
You're back from Amsterdam.
Yes.
It's now warm again.
No, it's not. It's like we never left. It's crazy.
Really?
This is like
80 here.
No. Well, here in Texas, we are suffering from the Nordic outbreak. Have you been following the Nordic outbreak, John?
Did you put echo on that?
I did, yeah. It sounded really good.
I'm just assuming you did because of the long pause and then the cornball. Yeah, okay, what?
The Nordic outbreak is...
global cooling.
Yes, it is. We're back. We have freezing rain predicted for tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like we never left. It was...
Yeah, get Mickey's camera ready because if you get freezing rain, you might get some really cool photos.
Yeah, cool accidents, yeah. Yeah. No, it's it's very interesting to see how global cooling is taking charge, and in fact, Willie Nelson's tour bus crashed because of slick roads yesterday.
Oh, that thing's one of those giant buses too, right?
Yeah. Well, 3 of his band members were actually injured, had to go to the hospital.
That's because nobody wears seatbelts in those buses.
Yeah, exactly.
I was in one of those big buses, like that size bus, and it rammed into a car. It was in New York.
Was this when you were on tour with the Grateful Dead?
No, it's just it was a bus of people coming. I don't know if it was an airport or something, but it was one of these huge buses, and I always try to grab the front seat.
Yeah, bus accidents are no joke, by the way.
So I could get into the... Well, I know, they're no joke if it's a really bad accident because that bus falls. But when the buses usually hit something, like it hit this car, it just killed the car. The bus, nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Just all this weight, boom, plows into this car, and it's like you wouldn't even know you were in an accident if you inside the bus.
I think Willie's bus like hit an overpass or something, and it stopped the bus, whatever happened.
Well, that's not good.
You know, it's like boating accidents. People never think about, though. That's so dangerous. When a boat is traveling and then stops because it hits something, man, it's not okay.
Yeah, you're still doing 40 miles an hour.
Exactly. Oh, it's an interesting day, interesting week. Some presidential proclamations. Of course, we had the Day of Remembrance for President John F. Kennedy, which... Was
that a day of remembrances or months of remembrances? This has been going on week after week.
And so annoying because obviously anyone who's a conspiracy theorist is an idiot because, of course, that's part of what all this reporting was about. But I just tried to avoid all of it. It's just really, really... I guess it's I think it's because it's free content as well. You know what I mean? For the news guys, because of all that footage is all public
right.
domain.
You don't have to do any work.
Yeah, you just
and there's packages flying everywhere.
Yeah, you just throw some video together. It's perfect for the Thanksgiving week coming up. So you'll have none of that here. However, I also must let you know that we will be enjoying National Family Week as per presidential proclamation, and let us not forget National Child Day, which, when was that? The 19th. Oh, we just missed it. So it's been a very, very busy month.
There's some transgender thing that was going on, Transgender Week or awareness or something that probably wasn't listed by the president. Should have been.
Yeah. I do have
a short clip which brought an interesting point to mind, which I was unaware of. And this is from the Gay News that's on Free Speech TV. And apparently somebody has a house across the street from that Fred Phelps maniac, that church that just walks around, demeaning gays and veterans.
Allowed to do these things, and you'd think they'd read the papers once in a while and figure out what the laws actually are. We do have one picture we want to put up of a nice story to end this section of Transgender
Not completely,
Day.
but go ahead. I have another one.
Oh. Okay, well, this is a quality house in Topeka, Kansas, which you may remember was bought by a group called Planting Peace right across the street from Fred Phelps' compound. To annoy him, you see the rainbow flag flying under the U.S. flag on the top of the building. Usually it's painted in the rainbow stripes, but for Transgender Day of Remembrance, they painted it in the colors of the transgender flag.
Okay. Wait a minute.
Good.
Wait a minute. The transgendered have a flag? Hold on a second.
I was wondering whether you'd catch. That's what I said.
Wait a minute.
What?
They have.
We have to have a flag.
Yes, we need a bike. Wow! Wow! The transgendered flag is whacked. It's This is
coming
interesting.
Back with some street argot from Amsterdam.
It's green, pink, white, pink, green. That's weird. Oh, we need a flag. You're right, John. We need a flag. We need the flag that's just, I'm confused. You can be LGBT or confused.
Yeah, so anyway, I was very, I was like, what? This house was painted in the flag colors.
Notice it was just to annoy him.
Yeah, I just found that was actually an interesting commentary, because why don't you just ignore him?
Yeah, because it's fun, because it brings attention to, I mean, the more I see it, and again, I'm bi-curious, which is a category on Craigslist and Backpage.
It is?
Yes.
On Craigslist, it's not in the Wikipedia, is it?
I don't know. I've never looked it up. But it's, if you go on Craigslist under adult services or, hookups or whatever.
Bi-curious Wikipedia.
Yeah, there you go. What does it say? See, they should have my name in there. Can you link to my wiki page?
No, but I'll put your name in there. Don't worry about it. Bi-curious is a phenomenon in which people of a heterosexual or homosexual identity who, while showing some curiosity for a relationship or sexual activity with a person of the sex they do not favor, distinguish themselves from bisexual label. The term is somewhat used to describe a broad continuum of sexual orientation between heterosexuality and bisexuality. Yeah. The term heteroflexible
now you're talking.
and homoflexible are also applied to bi-curiosity.
I am heteroflexible.
Though some authors distinguish heteroflexibility as lacking the wish to experiment with sexuality implied by the bi-curious label. So it's a third category. The term bi-curious implies that the individual has either no or limited homosexual experiences in the case of heterosexual individuals, or no or limited heterosexual experiences in the case of homosexual people, but may continue to self-identify as bi-curious if they do not feel they have adequately explored these feelings.
Yes, there you go. I am heteroflexible. I love that. That's best. I'm exploring my
trisexual.
I'm exploring my heteroflexibility right now.
Try anything.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? We don't get any props from the president. We don't get mentioned. No. It's only bisexual is recognized. But I have a Wikipedia entry, so I think it's valid. And I think we should have a day and a flag.
A flag.
I want a heteroflexible flag.
You need a flag.
A heteroflexible flag.
Just a big white flag with a huge question mark in the middle.
I found, just to switch gears for a second, you know how when Angelina Jolie, I'll just say the crude way of saying this, she had her boobs lopped off. But she went through this whole thing. She had the BRCA1 or the BRCA2 gene, which the test is patented. Only one company can do it. And she went to this clinic, and then she had a double mastectomy, and then she had reconstructive surgery where they keep the nipples intact. I might point out, as per the clinic that she went to. And we said, and at the time, I think we said, "Hey, wait a minute. This is something's weird going on with this." Turns out this is all paid for by insurance. It is law in America, that insurance must cover reconstructive surgery. And the bonanza is here, John. I have proof. In the In-Flight magazine from Atlanta to Austin, and this is just crazy. I found a full-page ad, the Center for Restorative Breast Surgery, and there's a new term. It may not be new, but it was new to me. That's been introduced. So here's how it works: you go get a test to see if you have the gene, not if you have cancer, but if you have the gene. You get a probability, and this is part of the law, by the way. It's if you have the gene or a percentage of probability that you will get breast cancer, then you can have a radical mastectomy with built-in reconstructive surgery, and it is by law has to be covered by the insurance company. I'm looking at this picture, full-page ad. The woman is in her bikini. She has beautiful breasts, at least that we can see in the bikini. And she says, "For a radical preventative decision like this one, I would not have trusted any other physicians. Tamara Donovan, breast cancer, Previver."
The hell's a Previver?
You're a pre-survivor.
What does that mean?
You're a pre-cancer survivor. Don't you get it? This is how insane it's become. Instead of being a breast cancer survivor, you're a breast cancer Previver because you took the test, had the gene, had the mastectomy, and got some beautiful boobs back with your original nipples, all covered by insurance. It's a boob job scam.
Wow.
Right?
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Previver. Go to, you can see their website.
Previver.
Go to breastcenter.com. That's their website. And I think I have a, what is this? What is a Previver? I started looking this term up, and it exists. I tried to get the domain name, but it was already taken. I'm like, man, I need Previver.com. What is a Previver? A Previver is a survivor of predisposition to cancer. Excuse me, just hit me now in the face. The term specifically applies to the portion of our community that has its own needs and concerns separate from the general population and different from those already diagnosed with cancer. Time magazine declared the term...
This is unbelievable. And by the way, just to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Hitting the images, Previver has its own little, that little ribbon thing.
It does. It has a green and pink ribbon.
Yeah, it's got a green and pink ribbon, and there's logos. It's got logos. Boy, this campaign is done. This is money.
This is big. Well, of course, but think about it. How many women would
Previver Day 9/26/12? We missed this.
We missed Previver Day. But think about it for a second. This is, and I'm not against this. I just want to point out what it really is. I think lots of women would love to have different breasts because of the peer pressure, the world, the way it is. But of course, it's really wrong in most circles. Like, I just went up, no, you can't have beauty. Oh, you can't go get a boob job. And it's also very expensive. However, now you take the test, you get a percentage of likelihood of breast cancer, which, by the way, I think the Curry-Dvorak DNA analysis group might be in order. We'll analyze you. Just spit in a baggie, send it to us. We'll analyze it according to our patented system.
And make sure it's spit.
Thank you. And then we send you back a diagnosis that says, yes, you are predispositioned. And then, whoop, boom, insurance takes care of it. Get some beautiful boobs. And if you look at this, did you look at the breastcenter.com website?
I'm looking at all these images on Previver. No, I didn't.
If you look at breastcenter.com, I think this is the actual place that did Angelina Jolie because they have her testimonial on their website. And they have the nipple-sparing mastectomy. This is their specialty. So they take your existing nipple, unless you're not happy with that. I'm sure we can do something for you. They save that and they put it back on, and they make beautiful breasts. And I've spoken to a number of women about this, and they're all like, "Yeah, this is just a way to get a boob job."
On the insurance, this is why our health care is out of control. Yeah. The cost of health care in this country, worst in the world. Now,
I will say that as a contributor to the system, because of course I pay high fees to enable other people, because that's how the system works. It's mandatory. I pay premiums and they're all very high, but this has to be done so that 35 million Americans who never had health care can have it. And if all the women who have never had that, can go get some beautiful breasts, I'm all for it. I think that's a well invested. It'll make us a happy country. But let's not shit each other about it, okay? This is what's really happening. Previver. We can have a reality show now on Previver.
Oh, well, you stunned me with this one. Okay, and it's funny that it's been going, it's at least a year old, and it took us this long to catch up to it.
I was just flabbergasted, one of those great words, when I saw this full-page ad.
Flabbergasted is better than amazed.
What really does... what internationally recognized leaders in the most advanced breast reconstructive surgeries, including the immediate nipple-sparing mastectomy. It's the INSM, the immediate nipple-sparing mastectomy, right here today on Previver. I'm going to have to scan this ad because the girl, she looks like kind of like a mid-30s. You can't see her face, just it's cut off in her mouth, and she's in her bikini. She looks beautiful. Rocking.
No, it's just not some stock shot.
No,
you have no idea where that picture came from.
It's Tamara Donovan, breast cancer Previver. That's proof right there.
Yeah, that's proof right there.
Wow. What about guys? I feel a little slighted now. Can we get a Previver treatment for something?
Dick enlargement.
No, all we get is like prostate removal. Thanks.
Thanks for nothing.
Women get great boobs. We get a prostate. Thanks. So that was one of the highlights of our trip back, I have to say.
Well, give us some more insight of what was going on over there. I mean, I could tell you what. By the way, I'll tell you one of my little things about going to Florida and back. I got apparently Southwest put TSA pre on my boarding pass.
Right. Yeah. In fact, you were starting to say this and we got distracted. I realized we never really got to it.
Well, I'm getting to it now.
Yeah.
So you go to the beginning. Now they have a guy. They got one more new hire. As at the very, you get in the cattle call line, and then you get to the guy who looks at your thing, and he looks at you, and then he now they get this little funny looking flashlight, useless flashlight that they flash onto the boarding pass. Have you seen this?
Yeah. It's
purple flashlight. What is that supposed to do?
It's to see if you wrote anything in lemon juice on it.
I have no idea.
I think it's
just stupid.
You should bring a lemon and a little cut straw and put it like a swastika or something on it. See what happens when they shine that blue light on it.
So they put the little light on there, and then they maybe they're looking for somebody that's got some code. It's me, Bill.
Who knows?
Whatever the case, so you go through, but now they got a guy way at the beginning of the cattle line who looks at your pass to see if you're which means pre-screened.
Right.
And that's for the new
Previver.
So it's mine said pre-TSA, so I went into this line.
It's pre-check, right? It's not pre.
Yeah, it's pre-check.
It's pre-check, yeah.
Yeah. So the guy, so it's a little shorter line, and it's the same thing. They don't have the spinning device, naked body scanner, a millimeter wave. They have just the
magnetometer
thing.
Yeah.
Leave it, and then they're yelling at you anyway.
Leave your shoes on. Yeah, right.
Leave them on.
When we came back from we had to we always fly from Schiphol to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta to Austin. And by the way, it's so beautiful. Just when you come into Schiphol Airport, And boom, the no agenda hidden Wi-Fi pops up, and it's just blazingly fast, and it's so nice, so nice. And so we go through first the passport thing, and we were really early, like an hour earlier than we'd had to be. So we had a massage there at the airport, which is quite nice. It's such a sophisticated thing to do before you leave. And then so now if it were a Delta flight, we'd have to go through the questioning, but it wasn't a Delta flight, so they do on KLM. They don't ask you any questions, and they had a magnetometer, but they also had 2 slave scanners. And Miss Mickey and I would just say, "Oh, we want to opt out." They say, "Oh, no problem." And then and you take off your shoes, which you don't have to take off your shoes in their slave scanner for some reason, which is of course completely different from the United States. And so we went through the magnetometer. Then you get a pat down, which is 20 seconds. And and then of course my bag is always like, "Hey, you got a microphone in there?" Which of course is the studio bag. And I've got I'm using the Rode Procaster, which I would think it looks like a huge dildo. So I'm always like, "Oh yeah, you just want to see if I'm not carrying a dildo," is what I said.
Okay, I like the idea of being funny and trying to get the TSA or any of these security guys to yuck it up with you.
And you know what the girl
said? Does it look like a bomb?
You know what the girl said? She says, "No, dildos turn up orange on our scanner, so we know what they are."
Oh, well, you learned something.
That's information I didn't have.
Wow.
But I actually had to say, may I just say, you guys are so much nicer than our state Stasi police in America were yelling at you. Isn't this nice? It's a quick pat down. They evaluate. You're good to go. It's fast. It's quick. They're cheerful. They're not yelling at you.
Well, here's the interesting thing about the pre-screen that I thought was a little different. Besides not having to take your shoes or anything else off, and besides having a magnetometer and rushing you right through and checking your bags and not doing much, you don't take your laptop out.
You mean you don't take? Yeah, of course not. It's all bogus.
It's because it's all bogus. So now leave your laptop in.
And so,
so I went and asked the supervisor after this was done.
Oh, hey, how come I didn't have to take my laptop out? It could have been explosive.
No, I didn't do that. I went to the supervisor that was sitting behind some big desk. He looked like a judge, or looked like one of those old scenes from a New York precinct where the cop is sitting way up on the top of it.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, that's how they all are. They have their little throne back there.
Yeah, so I went over and asked the guy, I don't know if he was running the things, it looked like, because people kept asking him stuff. So I said, "What's the deal with this? Why did I go through that line?" He said, "Oh, we're testing the pre-screen to see if there's any glitches." And I said, "Oh, and what is that about?" He says, "Well, he says TSA has been testing it because apparently there's if you go to TSA.gov that you can sign up for this. It costs money." He says, but he also said Southwest is doing their own
their own version.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
I said, "What?" He says, "Yeah, Southwest for $85 you can get through their system, and it's the same. You still go through the pre-screen, but you're not cleared, for." Unless you're flying Southwest, you're still going to have to go through the normal.
So
why would you do that?
Yeah, this is annoying. The whole thing is it's bull crap. B, it's a money grab. C, it's just there to annoy me. So now we're flying. And we're in the economy comfort, which I have to say on KLM is you pay like $100 extra a ticket, well worth it for the
legroom,
for the extra inches. Yeah. And now, so I'm in a deep sleep, and all of a sudden, and I had my headphones on. I think I was listening to Dvorak Horowitz Unplugged, but I've fallen asleep. So I'm in one of those. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Thanks for the plug.
That's how it goes. And all of a sudden, I'm being shaken awake. I'm like, what? And Nikki is looking at me like panicked. She says, "There's something going on. Something going on." And she was asleep too. And there's yelling and commotion. I'm like, oh man. So half a cabin back, it's like someone apparently we thought was having a heart attack, and the stewardesses, the flight attendants, I should say, start walking through the aisles. "Is there a medical doctor on board? Is there a medical doctor on board?" I'm like, I can fly the plane. And so what happened is some guy had high blood pressure and wasn't feeling well, and his wife or daughter or whatever started freaking out. Yeah, and it turns out the guy's had to take his high blood pressure pill. It's like, oh, but people are so on edge, freaking out, just like,
I've been on 3 flights where somebody's had a heart attack.
Yeah, and they came back with the paddles and everything, but then they never. I was watching like, and they just put the blood pressure thing on, and the guy was like,
those paddles. I don't need that.
Yeah. But I think it's the people are stretched. We're uptight. We're all kind of freaking out, and there's a strategy of tension that's being taken advantage of. I think if here's 3 reports in a row that are solely intended are put on television just to freak you out and make you nervous. This was what's happening. Why is this not?
It was certainly a big scare in the air, and it was caught on tape. Pilots had to make an emergency landing after a passenger started yelling about a bomb on board a Spirit Airlines plane.
There's a bomb on this goddamn plane! There's a bomb on the plane!
Another passenger shot this video and posted it to YouTube Friday. The plane landed in Atlanta, where police arrested the disorderly passenger. Investigators believe he suffers from a mental illness. A sweep of the plane revealed there was no bomb on that plane.
Now, here's the problems with this particular report. One, the video was shot while they're on the ground. The Atlanta PD is on the plane. The guy's yelling there's a bomb on the plane, yet he's holding on to the seat and the police are trying to get him off the plane, and he's holding on to the seat. I'm sorry, this makes no sense. If there's a bomb on the plane, why do you want to stay on the plane? 2, what do you mean a sweep of the plane? This is not procedure. If someone's yelling there's a bomb on the plane, everyone off the plane, all of the luggage off the plane. This is something is wrong. This makes no sense. You can't just say, oh, this guy's clearly nuts. Let's just have a quick look in the bathroom and move on. So that's bullcrap reporting, and it's just intended to scare you. How about this one?
Police in North Carolina are trying to figure out who put a bomb inside a teddy bear. Woo! A man delivering newspapers took the bear home, then realized it contained wires and smelled like gas. He called 911 and police sent out a bomb squad.
I'm just trying to figure out, why would you put a bomb in a teddy bear in the first place? Like, if anybody had picked it up, probably it would be a little kid.
Try to clear this up as quickly as we can and maybe prevent something like this from happening again.
The ATF has the bear and the bomb. The Federal Crime Lab will take it apart and inspect it.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
And then we miss this one, which is, again, and I have questions about this in today's modern internet age, almost 2014. We go to Los Angeles Airport.
We begin with 2 frightening incidents at Los Angeles International Airport.
And pay attention to the cops in this report.
They happen almost simultaneously. One at Terminal 4, the other at Terminal 5. At Terminal 4, an apparent prank call to police last night causing this chaotic scene. Authorities say it all began when the caller reported a gunman at the airport, and that prompted this response from police.
Everyone on the ground! Everybody get down!
Police evacuated.
It sounds like Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, by the way, that one cop. Everybody get down! Sounds just like the guy. So the cops are walking through, like, guns pointed. Everyone's like, shut up, slave! Cower in the corner! Shelter in place! Let's listen to some witnesses.
At the terminal, but then they didn't find anything suspicious, and then they gave the all clear.
The first I knew of it was when I was in the ladies' restroom and a security guard told us to come and hide in the baby's room.
Hide in the baby's room!
Because there was lots of yelling and screaming outside.
I was in the security line, and all of a sudden the security people were shouting, andale, andale, and just get hit.
That is a SWAT term, I believe. Andale, andale! Andale, andale on the ground, in the baby bathroom, andale, andale! So in 2013, almost 2014, when you say apparently a prank call, it's when someone calls, I don't know if they still do this on CSI or whatever, but you don't have to stay on the line for keep them talking for 70 seconds so we can trace the call. That's bull crap. It's like connect, ping. We know where you are. We know where it's coming from. You don't have to trace things through multiple wires and agencies? Was a guy up in the telephone pole with the orange handset? No.
Well, it depends on where the call came in.
Bullshit.
If you were calling the airport, I don't think they have the right gear. I mean, you can get caller ID, but there's one step. A lot of people don't. There's one step beyond caller ID.
Who do you call? Who do you call for a bomb?
But you don't
threat?
call the police.
Who do you call for a bomb threat at LAX? Who do you call? Because the report was very clear.
Ghostbusters.
Okay.
I don't know who you call.
All right. So it's not true. This is just a drill.
You think the whole story's bogus?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. And the TSA.
No, here's okay. This
and
is
the TSA is yelling andale.
Here's your thesis.
Yes.
Bunch of cops are sitting around the lunchroom. What are we doing this afternoon? Where's that case? Oh, no, that case was closed. We can't. I have an idea. Let's say there was a bomb threat called in LAX. Let's go out there and scare some civilians. This would be great fun.
No, you're missing an essential part of the story. So 2 cops are picking up coffee and lunch for the department. And they're like, hey, man, this traffic sucks. Flip on the lights so we can get back quick. So first they do that. Then they're sitting around and say, this is boring. What can we do? Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we got to get to the donut shop with the lights and sirens.
So I am saying strategy of tension. It's a well-known strategy. We have a lot of people flying in the United States, certainly for the Thanksgiving holiday. You know, we got teddy bears that smell like gas, have wires, are going to blow up. We've got guys yelling bomb on the plane. We've got another LAX scare from a prank call. Yeah. This is, and the way people respond, just like what happened on the plane. People are on edge. It's a dangerous situation. We all need to calm down. Smoke some weed. Well, luckily, I'm a previvor of any terrorism.
I'm thinking, you know that operation called Make a Bear or whatever it is?
No.
What's it called?
The Vermont Teddy Bear.
No. These franchises that are all over the country. The Teddy Bear Factory or whatever it's called. And you go in there with your kid.
Yeah.
And they have all these different skins that you pick and different sizes and then different kinds of stuffing. And then you actually make the bear at the place. Well, that's where you want to make a bear with a bomb in it.
Yeah. Hey, could you leave a little room in there for like a freehollowbear.com.
Freehollowbear.com.
One of our producers lots of our producers have children. The kids had a lockdown drill at the school. Here's the voicemail that went out to all the parents.
Inform you that we had an unannounced emergency lockdown drill today. I realize this may have startled some of our students and staff members, but because of the recent events across the country, we felt this drill was necessary so we could be as prepared as possible.
Recent events across the country. It's an epidemic of people killing children.
In case anything were to occur here at Revis. I am happy to report that the students and staff took the drill very seriously, and within 30 seconds, the hallways were cleared and everyone was in a secure classroom or office.
Wow.
Please know, we take the security of our students and employees very seriously.
Yeah, you're going to give somebody a heart attack, you douche.
And having drills like the one today should give you a clear indication of our commitment to providing a safe and secure environment here at Revis High School.
And scaring the children.
How many K through 12 schools do you think there are in the United States of America that were having an epidemic? We've had, 2 places?
Yeah.
132,000 in 2010, 132,000 K through 12 schools, over 13,000 school districts. The number, if it's essentially, we're talking about 1 in over 100,000 incident rates.
That's an epidemic across the country, John.
This is not an epidemic. This is bull crap.
If you have any questions and or concerns about the drill today or our safety procedures, please do not hesitate to contact me here at Revis. We thank you for your continued support, and we hope
continued support.
Yeah,
great. The school district, you got no choice.
To repeat this message, press 1.
Adios, mofo. Yeah, thank you for your courage, is what he should have said. Thank you for your courage. In the morning to you, John C. Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Adam Curry. In the morning to you, all the ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
Yes, and in the morning to all of you who are heteroflexible and all of those human resources in the chat room, noagendastream.com, noagendachat.net, and thank you very much to our wonderful artist, Martin JJ, 2 times in a row with the art. Can he make it a hat trick, or will you compete? NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. We love giving everyone
hat trick.
Isn't that nice? A hat trick. It's a nice little term. A hat trick.
They have to crank it out to do it. It's hard to do.
I wonder where the term hat trick came from.
Why don't you look it up? Well, I thank some of our executive producers and associate executive producers for show 568. So our executive producer for show 568 is Sir David Foley, Baron of Silicon Valley and all parts south of the San Francisco
Isn't he Grand
Bay
Duke
Area.
by now? Is he still a baron?
He's on the road selling 4K TVs. $777.77. He'd be the sole executive producer for show 568. In the morning, find a big bag of Lucky Sevens. I'm on the road again. Wanted to send some Sunday support for the best podcast in the universe.
Yes, thank you very much, Sir David Foley. Without you, it would have been rather sad today.
Yes, it would have been. But it wasn't, because David Foley is the Baron, and that's the way they operate.
That's the way it goes.
Aaron Hatch is an associate executive producer from Audio Imagery Design.
Is that a double make it rain?
Well, it is, but we're the ones that are supposed to be cited, I guess. Maybe we're supposed to go on stage.
I'm not going on stage.
We're not going on stage.
Not for $222.
No, we're that's low rent.
I'm not a cheap dance.
Please accept my cherry popping donation of $222.22 to make it rain on us. Okay, well that we can put up with the rain part. Yeah. Both you yokels, he calls us.
Yes.
The work you all do is so extremely important. See, where is he from? What was that?
Dallas.
Yeah, well, he's got to talk a little bit like this. You're from Dallas.
No, Dallas is highbrow, man. It's elites in Dallas.
Dallas talks through their teeth.
Okay.
They do. They all talk through their teeth. The work y'all do is extremely important, but citizens just do not have the time to do the research in order to stay abreast of how corporations and our elected leaders maneuver. But with you two at the helm of the SS Shit Cutter,
I like that.
Navigating us through the slurry of misinformation, distractions, and infotainment.
Yay!
We listeners have found solace with you, the media assassinating guards of reality. Please do not allow yourselves to be compromised. And when folks say thank you for your courage, I think the sentiment is deeper than you all realize. Please thank Oxnard's Doug Dodge for hitting me in the mouth 8 months ago.
John, you can move into Texas any old day. We'll throw a hat and boots on you, stick you in a Dodge Ram with a gun rack, and you're good to go, my friend. That was good. Hat trick, 1879, originally from cricket, taking 3 wickets on 3 consecutive deliveries. Extended to other sports around 1909. So it's a cricket metaphor.
Wow.
Didn't know that.
But why is it called a hat? Know where it came from, but what's the point?
Don't they wear silly hats in cricket?
I think they wear silly hats in England, but I don't know if they do in cricket. I don't remember.
Allegedly, because it entitled the bowler, that would be the pitcher, to receive a hat from his club commemorating the feat.
Oh, huh.
I guess, but the bowler is right. So the bowler
is the guy was bouncing the ball toward the
right. So if he hits 3 wickets in a row, then he gets a hat. That, by the way, is a great premium for No Agenda Nights. A hat.
Yeah. But people don't wear hats. LQZ.
LQZ. Yeah.
In East York, Ontario, Canada, $201. So credit LQZ for this donation. If Adam or John has this time, maybe you could read my book.
LQZ.
Links are at lqz.ca. Here are the smash word codes to get it for free. Do we want to?
Yeah, no, I think we could read it on the air. It says here, Kilo Papa 7-4 kilo.
You can buy it if you like. It's okay to read the code on the air. That's what he says. Yeah. Sorry. IIRC, the Greeks work the most. They're not the most productive. there's a big difference.
What does IIRC stand for again?
What is IIRC? It's in case, Rick. I have no idea.
It's one of those things. It's like OMG.
IIRC. I'd never see it used.
Yeah, I see it used from time to time.
Look it up in acronyms.
Jeez, I'm looking everything up today.
Well, I'm reading. You can look stuff up. Otherwise, you just sit there scratching your belly.
Yeah.
There's a big difference as for using guns to turn moms against the GOP. The Liberal Party in Canada pulled a similar trick with long guns in the Conservative Party. But it was more of a city versus rural issue. For some reason, some of my fellow city dwellers believe that registering farmers' shotguns would make them safer.
IIRC, if I recall. Correctly. I think no one should use that acronym. That's lame. No. That's like, I am not a lawyer.
The fact that all legal handguns are already registered was ignored. John is 6'1". Color me surprised. Giving his history of trolling Mac users, I just assumed he was shorter.
In the morning.
Woo! There's something to that.
Edgar Rothermish in West Hollywood, California, $200. My name is Edgar Rothermish. It has been a while since I last donated, so here is a long overdue $200. And by the way, for people out there listening, think about that, how long it's been. And here comes my shameless self-promotion. And by the way, we're working on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, because A, it's a Thursday. B, it's a bogative holiday.
Well, there's that.
And John will, as is tradition here on the No Agenda Show,
relate the story.
Tell us the real story of Thanksgiving.
Yes. I just released and it has nothing to do with Native Americans. Just released my new book, Logic Pro X, How It Works, the first manual for Apple's new Logic Pro app. I'm sure many listeners use Logic for their music production. I also wrote books for GarageBand, too. The books are available on my website, dingdingmusic.com/manuals. I also donated a free copy of my Logic book on your behalf to Jeff Smith.
Oh, nice.
As an appreciation for his great work on the No Agenda jingles. He uses Logic Pro. Thank you for all your courage.
Well, thank you for your courage.
And that concludes our short list of executive producers, associate executive producers for show 568. And we're going to remind people to go to Dvorak.org/NA, channeldvorak.com/NA. Also, No Agenda Show and NoAgendaNation.com both have buttons you can push to get to a donate page, but not the donate page.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And of course, we always appreciate it if you go out there and propagate our formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
Yeah, it's is the show just not exciting enough to people? I guess we're not providing the value to some.
I think one of the problems
third show in a row that it's been low.
Yeah. But I think
what?
it's because
no.
This happens every time we're entering a holiday.
Oh, yeah. I think it's something else.
It's a cycle. Every time we've done it, every year, it's the same thing around Thanksgiving. That's why I'm always advocating not even working or doing a show during this period. But
the problem is we don't have a flag. This is why.
We need a flag.
We don't have a flag. That's why the donations are down. Everybody's got a flag.
Give a flag, and then we should send out a pattern so people can make their own No Agenda flag.
A correction about the Dutch expression aan de strijkstok blijven hangen, which I promised I would figure out the etymology of it. I said it was the violinist's bow, while the translation of violinist's bow is indeed strijkstok. As it pertains to giving money to charity, and a lot of it sticks to the strijkstok. It comes from the olden days in the Netherlands when at the market, or I guess at the Costco version of the market in the 17th century, they would take a stick to even out anything like grain or anything that's been put into a container. so it's level right at the very top. And they had all kinds of tricky sticks where they'd slide it across, but then some stuff would like they'd turn it and be hollow, and it would flow into the stick. So it'd be grabbing some of your grain, even though someone else would be paying for it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, this kind of scam. There's like those wine thieves. They had this. There's a device. I've seen it. It's like you can stick this on like a needle that goes alongside the cork, and it can go down into the bottle of wine.
It sucks it out
and suck out some wine, so you have a taste.
Nice.
Yes, this is just a short fill, sir. Cork's still in here.
Oh man, I have so much. There's just so much email. People, try and think about what you're sending us. You know, it's with all these like what's that thing that people always use in the iPad, that news app? What is it called?
Not having an iPad, I have no idea.
I'm trying to think. Well, you know, it's like a book, and you flip through it and everything, and you know, it's so easy.
Oh yeah, that thing.
I can't think of the name.
Yeah, what is that called? Chat room working?
Yeah. They'll figure it out. But it's so easy for someone. Oh, I'll just email that to Adam. Oh, that's a great story. You know, hey, you should listen to this podcast, episode 24 and 25. Some great clips, I'm sure. Hey, I know it's a 2-hour documentary, but man, you'll love it. It's great for the show. If
you're going to do that, put the specific time code of the specific thing you think was interesting.
Yeah.
So we could, if we feel like doing it, we'll open the thing up and then zoom to the time code and listen and go, yeah.
Also, don't email the same Flipboard. That's what it's called. Thank you, chat room.
Right, Flipboard.
Flipboard. Thank you, Slake.
That's on there. Yeah.
Do not email the same story to both of us.
Yeah, just if it's really good and interesting, just send it to me.
If you are an insider and want something to be anonymous, send it to me. You can encrypt it. But sending it to both of us is useless. Because then I have nothing to like surprise John with.
Don't listen to him. Send it to both of us.
And there's something else I wanted.
This is bogus.
There's something else I wanted to mention. So, and this is just interesting. It's okay if you guys do it. So I get a lot of emails to links to stories. Maybe like, maybe it's Zero Hedge, or there's a whole bunch of different websites. But when you look at the story, it is a summary of a story, and it'll say, read more here, and you click on that, you go to a story, which in many cases is also not the original story, and then you click on it, so you have to click like 3 times to get to the original story. And I'm wondering, do people ever do this? Do they know that they're reading an abstract, rewritten like headline and everything, which, oh, by the way, it's like the game of telephone. It changes along the way. And by the time you're back at the original story, the information is sometimes different. I wonder if people take the time to do that. And
I don't think they do.
And since when did a link... So I see this all the time. So a website copies a story, and then at the bottom, where they have the link to the original, it'll say hat tip to wherever the story came from. What the fuck? Hat tip. You took a story, you rewrote it that someone else did.
No, you don't rewrite. No, you're not a blogger to know this. You don't rewrite it. You lift it.
You lift it. Now that they changed the headline, whatever, and at the bottom, instead of...
No, well, you don't even have to do that.
Instead of here's the original, it's like hat tip. What is hat tip? Steal. You stole. The hat tip is not... It's dumb.
This is the way blogging works. Grow up.
This is what Politico does. Politico is doing this. Hat tip.
It's a blog. What do you think?
No. This is an elitist thing. It's different, John. It's a thing that's going on when people take a story and then they write their own...
Use the right word.
Lift. They lift a story like, I can't believe this is going on in the state of Texas. Damn crap. Hat tip.
Hat tip.
Hat tip.
I don't see hat tip used that much. That was about 2 years ago when that was very popular.
I think the reason why I started reading, there's because in the book, in this town, there's constant referral to, what's the guy's name here? Is it the Politico Playbook? So the Politico Playbook is a page on Politico, which is written by Mike Allen. And apparently everybody in Washington, if you believe what the book says, reads this every single day, and this is like the Bible of Washington. And then if you read this, it's always at the bottom here, the guy's got 1 million hat tips, which will be H/TS. So we now have it's like, here's Dan Glickman, former motion picture associate of America.
H/TS? You sure that doesn't mean something like hot transsexual or something?
No, that's if there's more than one hat tip, I guess it's H/T, but if there's more than one, then you give H. Maybe it is a tranny thing. I don't know. It's just this hat tip thing. Stop. And please, and do yourself a favor. Learn how to, you know what? Okay. It's time.
Oh, wait, hold on.
It's time for one.
Curry's pet peeve of the day. And an Adam Curry pet peeve here about blogging.
No, it's not about blogging. This is a pet peeve about dialogues. And I had a little tiff with my wife about this.
Woo!
When your computer or iPhone or something pops up a dialog box and the headline says, "Could not post your tweet," and it has something underneath it that explains why, don't just click OK, go make it go away, and then say, "Doesn't work." People don't read. It'll say right there, it says,
what? So
here's an example. It'll say, "Could not download this podcast." And then, just click that dialogue away. It's not downloading. Whereas if you read the dialogue, it'll say, and this is not my wife in particular, this has happened many times with other people, I love you, honey. You know this is not about you. God damn, I'm in trouble now. And it says, you're on cellular data, it's over 100 megabytes, you have to be on Wi-Fi. But people aren't reading this. I mean, and maybe it's because developers have made dialogue boxes inherently stupid in the past and we have no credibility. Or maybe, I don't know what it is, but the answer is there. And so often I find that people are like, I couldn't get it to work. Got an error. What was it? I don't know. I just closed the box.
Could be.
Sorry?
It's a good peeve. I like it.
It's a huge peeve with me.
Yeah, especially if people are just not downloading our show because they're not on Wi-Fi.
By the way, BitTorrent Sync is the future.
You say this routinely on a cycle every 3 shows.
It's important to say it because I want people to transition everything. BitTorrent Sync was made for podcasting. It makes there's they came out with the upgraded app, and I don't have a phone. I have the iPod Touch, and you literally just scan the QR code, boom, boom, and it starts downloading. It's fantastic, and there's no server in the middle. And it's fast. It is, screw iTunes and all this other stuff, RSS feeds. You just have a folder, and then and I manage the folder. I take out.
You have to show me how to use this the way you're describing it. It sounds great. Don't you have to have a lot of people, a lot of seeds out there, though?
No, I mean, it'll work with one, obviously, but we have the show has so many people seeding that it's so fast. It's downloading at like breakneck speed. It's really phenomenal. There's on every single show notes. You go to 568.nashownotes.com. At the bottom, one of our producers wrote a beautiful how-to, and it's pretty simple. It's like Dropbox. It's, you just set it up, and you're good to go. But there's no Dropbox, no server in the middle. Now, of course, there's some tracking server somewhere. So it's fallible, but we also do BitTorrents on an RSS feed. There's just so many different options, and I want to keep pointing it out that people should take the time because every single show we release, Dogcatcher didn't work. Just so you know, not on Dogcatcher. That may be Dogcatcher's problem.
Dogcatcher.
Downcast. Nope, nothing on Downcast.
It's that same guy.
It is.
Who is this guy? Do we have a name?
Give him a beer. He needs one. It just makes me laugh. Makes me laugh. People just read a little. I'm going back in time. I'm teaching myself Emacs now, and I have to say I love it. Org mode on Emacs is pretty.
Coming up next, Rex by Adam Curry.
Emacs has been around for like 20 years, but it has org mode, which is it's great. It's like it's a calendar, it's an outliner, and it's a word processor.
Point me to it.
What?
Nothing.
It's probably installed on any computer you have. That's another benefit.
Oh yeah, I know that's kind of the irony of a lot of this stuff. It's legacy software that sits on all these machines.
Yeah, but if you know how to use it, it's pretty damn handy. Like boom, Emacs, and then I set up my BitTorrent sync folder. Boom. Nice. Okay, let's see where to go from here, because I have a ton of Common Core, which I was thinking maybe saving till later in the show.
Yeah, push that off. I want to just get some of this cop stuff out of the way.
Oh, good. What do we got? Cop stuff. Oh,
you mean cop, the climate change.
To the gate, to the gate, to the climate gate.
Hey-o. Of course, the only person covering this is Amy Goodman, because she goes to these things. So she's in Warsaw, living it up on the dime of the contributor.
Yeah,
and so she's there, and she. Let me just play a couple of these clips. This one here, which is like I'm watching this. You have to see the visual on this, but I'll explain it to you after you play the clip, which is Warsaw 1, Lungs in the Street.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The War and Peace Report. For those who are just listening to...
Is it called the War and Peace Report?
Oh, yeah. Hi, welcome to Democracy Now!, the War and Peace Report, warandpeace.org.
What's up with that?
Just like, the War and Peace Report is what she calls this broadcast of hers.
The War and Peace Report. For those who are just listening to this broadcast, you can go to our website to see this video that was created by Cough for Coal. It is a video of a huge plastic 9-foot lungs that are walked through the streets of Warsaw in protest. Yes, this is Democracy Now! We're broadcasting from the capital of Poland, where the UN Climate Change Summit is taking place. I'm Amy Goodman.
That, by the way, is a lie. It's not the UN Climate Summit. The COP is something different. But I'm just being nitpicky.
Since we arrived here in Warsaw, 18 people have died on the Italian island of Sardinia in Cyclone Cleopatra. At least 6 people have been killed by tornadoes in Illinois, and the people of the Philippines continue to recover from the strongest typhoon to hit landfall in history. We turn now to a voice from Africa. Just before we went to air, Somali youth climate activist Marian Osman addressed the main plenary here at the UN climate talks in Warsaw.
Okay, stop.
First of all,
hold
on.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
I left that in just so I know you could get all worked
up. Me. Yes.
It's bullcrap.
It's not the worst typhoon. The previous one, there were a couple, but the big one in 1970 was blamed on global cooling.
Right. We talked about that in the last show. And there's actually some monsters in the 1800s.
Yes.
But this is beside the point to this group. So she brings this woman on, or she has this woman. After the walkout, there's still a bunch of these young, I would literally call them kids. They're obviously either in their early 20s or late teens, and they get registered to talk to the big session, which nobody's at. Half the places already walked out, and nobody sits around anyway.
Because they didn't want to give them any money.
These kids come up and harangue them, as this woman does.
Am I supposed to continue this clip, or what am I doing? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're going to continue this clip.
21 years. This year marks 21 years since the conception of the UNFCCC. And for those years, I asked negotiators, just what do you have to show for yourselves? This convention was conceived to curb temperature increases and cope with impacts of current climate change. Yet here and now, 21 years later, atmospheric CO2 has reached unprecedented levels, and our adaptation fund remains full of nothing but empty promises.
Yeah. Take that.
Well, this is just the beginning. I didn't want to clip the whole thing. But she just went on and on and on.
Wait a minute. Was this one of these young kids who's been trained? Yeah, we've seen this before.
The other one is from Sri Lanka, who was there too. And she's the real troublemaker.
And,
and she's just like the worst. I mean, she's like this girl that But I was noticing a couple of interesting new buzzwords, and I'm going to see which one here I've got.
New buzzwords, yes.
Yeah, new buzzwords. I think they're both incorporated in the carbon trading is, by the way, I got a couple of things. Let me go with this guy from Patrick Bond on Cap and Trade. This guy's from South Africa, and apparently a large group of these people have finally talked themselves into dropping the cap and trade idea, saying it's bullcrap. You have to just cap, which is what we've always said if you're sincere about this, right?
In Durban, South Africa, the Center for Civil Society, and 2 years ago in Durban, the COP17 was a terrible disappointment. And I'm here with a lot of the activists from the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, other groups, really to see if we can revive the momentum of climate justice, which we sort of lost.
Climate justice!
At that point. And
good catch.
The enemy team, which is the bankers and the bureaucrats, are trying to revive their vision, carbon trading as the core solution. It was in the Kyoto Protocol, and the question is whether they're going to find any more money and subsidies to bring it back. We hope not.
What do we want? Climate justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What?
Another great chant. The creativity is fabulous.
The carbon trading idea that the COP19 is probably going to try to revive at the global scale really has been absolutely a failure here in Europe, and partly because the Polish government and the corporations have abused it so much. But in general, the idea that we should turn over the planet to bankers to allow them to arrange an efficient trading of the right to pollute, carbon trading, from the Kyoto Protocol. Al Gore was very much supportive.
What could possibly go wrong, John? To hand over the climate trading to bankers sounds like a fine idea to me.
And that's really not worked, and now Jim Yong Kim, the World Bank president, has put that back onto the agenda a few weeks ago. So I'm quite worried that unless we show more of the opposition and the demand for absolute cuts, paying climate debt and not messing around with banker-type solutions like trading rights to pollute.
Whoa. Did I hear climate debt?
Oh, you caught both of them.
Oh, my goodness. The only thing you need to do, ladies and gentlemen, to save the Earth is...
Nap for humanity.
That's right. Just nap for humanity.
Yeah, if you nap, you don't put out so much CO2.
Yeah, less CO2, yeah.
So climate justice is one of them, and they're all talking climate justice, including the chant, what do we want?
Climate justice. When do we want it?
Now.
You got some time?
And the other one is climate debt. Now, climate debt is essentially what we talked about a little bit on the last show, which is, but we didn't have these terms, these buzzwords.
Well, we had climate finance. We had that one.
Right. But that doesn't have the impact of climate debt, because the climate debt, the wording itself makes the assumption that you owe money.
Oh yeah. We're gonna have I'm gonna have a climate debit card.
So in other words, and we're not talking about anybody just owing money, because they bring it up. It's the United States, China, India, Brazil, and some other countries were the bad actors, and they owe us money.
Yes, we have a climate debt to them.
I'm talking about Sri Lanka, some little country in the middle of Africa. The Somalia girl was there, and she was moaning about everything and how hell's breaking loose in Somalia because of climate change, and everything's climate change's fault, and they owed money.
Climate debt. We have climate debt to them.
Yes, we owe them money because of what we've done.
We suck.
So let's play a couple other things. The carbon trading is out clip. I don't know if it's the same one we just played.
It's a different one. I played the Patrick Bond.
Let's try this one.
Bond in Durban, South Africa.
No, it's the same one. It's a mistake I made.
Okay,
never mind.
All right.
Pull it.
Yep.
I think there's one more. Yeah, the
pulled.
I think that was all I got that was worth playing.
Building 7 is pulled.
Yeah. So the whole Free Speech TV has some new programming though. After the climate thing was the same as we did last year or a couple of years ago when they were in the other place, or Amsterdam, whatever it was. Same bull crap. But play. This is the new program. Free Speech TV is making some changes, and this is a show we can look forward to.
Spin, presenting positive, innovative, and solution-oriented news from around the world. On today's program, we feature the film Peacemakers with Jeremy Gilley, founder of Peace One Day, interviewing Prem Rawat, International Ambassador for Peace. Then we'll see the Prem Rawat Foundation's Peace for People video entitled Peace Begins With You.
A lot of stuff about peace coming up on Free Speech TV, especially with their international ambassador for peace, Prem Rawat.
Yeah, I'll be watching that.
And it's just as if they were completely insane over at Free Speech TV. And I don't even know how much of this has anything to do with free speech. Oh, here's the other cop one. It's the cop report from Democracy Now! Play this and then we're done.
Okay.
That is Frederick Chopin. He is a native of Poland. Yes, we're broadcasting.
Was it Frederick? You mean Chopin, the composer?
They play music on Free Speech TV instead of commercials.
She's back announcing Chopin?
And she back announces. She's always wanted to be a DJ, apparently. So they'll play some dipshit song. She back announces it. And I think it's all in hopes.
Let me see if I can try this. Frederick Chopin right here on the War and Peace Report, Democracy Now! Of course, Chopin grew up right here in Warsaw, Poland, where we are now about to bring you the brand new Friends list.
That is Frederick Chopin. He is a native of Poland. Yes, we're broadcasting from Warsaw. I'm Amy Goodman. We're here at the UN Climate Summit known as COP19. Hundreds of activists have walked out of the talk citing a lack of progress here over the last 10 days. Groups backing the walkout include Greenpeace, Oxfam, 350.org, the International Trade Union Confederation, ActionAid International, WWF, and Friends of the Earth.
And the Curry Dvorak Consulting Group for Climate Finance.
The move comes less than 36 hours after a group of 133 developing nations walked out of a key negotiating meeting amidst a conflict over how countries who have historically emitted the most greenhouse gases should be held financially responsible for some of the damage caused by extreme weather. We're going to turn right now.
Weather's not climate.
This is unbelievable. This is where is everybody? Weather is not climate is not weather. It has been told over and over again. This has now just changed. And this is your news media that you pay for. Some people pay for. They send money to PBS. This is crazy.
Some of the voices of protest.
We are saying on the promises that were made in Doha, and especially the finance, because what really brought us in Warsaw is the issue of finance. Can it be fulfilled? We don't want promises. We don't want empathies where we have the impact and then people come and just empathize with us or sympathize with us. We don't want that anymore. We want solidarity.
So the biggest development, I think, of this moment is that some of the largest NGOs in the world, WWF, Oxfam, Greenpeace, groups that traditionally have been very engaged in this process, are saying we actually need to change tactics. We need to begin to take on the fossil fuel industry in a really new way. And so the message on the shirt says, polluters talk, we walk. I think that coming out of these meetings, there's going to be a new type of commitment to really take on the fossil fuel industry. Divestment campaigns, standing up to pipelines like Keystone XL. We're beginning to figure out that to make progress on climate, we can't just come to these conferences and ask leaders for action. We really need to take on the industry itself.
You know what this guy needs? A flag.
I think he's got one.
In fact, is there a climate change flag?
Yeah, I think so.
Let me check. I don't think so. Climate.
I think there is.
I don't think there's a climate change flag.
Everybody's got a flag but us.
No, there is no. I'm looking. There's no uniform flag. There's no climate change flag.
For the COP thing, I think there's a flag.
Yeah, but I mean, there's not like a rainbow or transgendered flag. I mean, these, if you really want to achieve something, you need a flag.
That is Jamie Henn of 350.org and Cynthia.
Oh, they got a flag. 350.org. This is funny. Sir Gene, our producer here.
Yes, the guy, your handler.
Yeah, my handler. He has one of those, what's it called? It's called...
oh, hold on a second. Wait, stop.
What?
So I found a climate change flag, which is actually the gay flag with the word climate in the middle of it.
Oh, great. It's the rainbow flag with climate. I see it. So Sir Gene has one of those Netatmo, one of like those networked weather stations. And he sent me the app so I can look at the weather and the conditions in his house. And it measures... and this is what's cool, CO2 in the house. Currently, now 350.org, these are the guys that said, we can't have CO2 go above 350 parts per million because we'll all die. Right now, I'm looking at Sir Gene's internal CO2 measurement, 493 parts per million. Gene, get out. You're
Right.
dying. And I've seen it go up to 700 sometimes.
What's the 350 thing all about?
Just a bogus number. The domain name was available. I don't know. So, anyway, the smart money is on global cooling. And, and please pay no attention to the sun flares and, and what do we have? We had a star blow up and all this. Pay no attention to anything else but rich nations. Some other thing that said that's been going around, a meme. Let me see if I can find it here. These 90 companies are responsible for all the global warming.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't get that one.
I think you can Google it. You'll see it. So I think it's 90 companies, all the global...
Not 89 companies or 91?
Here it is. From The Guardian. Oh, of course. The Guardian of reality. Who wrote this? Suzanne Goldenberg, U.S. environmental correspondent. Just 90 companies cause...
They can't have an environmental correspondent in England?
Guess not. Just 90 companies cause 2/3 of man-made global warming emissions. I'm sorry, 2/3. And let's see.
This is part of the overall 90% meme and all the rest of it, where you have these numbers. So it's like a very small number of people cause all this very small number of people use the resources. A very small number of people do this, and then you can target a very small number of companies.
Yes.
And essentially, it's an extortion racket, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, so
it'll be the same thing as Jesse Jackson would do, which is say we're going to march on your place, and there's going to be all kinds of news coverage if you don't hire some black guys. And he says, okay, we'll hire some black guys. Well, we may march anyway. The real problem that we have here is that you're not contributing to our cause. Okay. Well, here's a check. Okay, bye.
It's all good. The climate crisis of the 21st century has been caused largely by just 90 companies, which between them produce nearly 2/3 of the greenhouse gas emissions generated since the dawning of the industrial age, new research suggests. The companies range from investor-owned firms, household names such as Chevron, Exxon, and British Petroleum, to state-owned and government-run firms. The analysis, which was welcomed by the former Vice President Al Gore as a crucial step forward, found that the vast majority of the firms were in the business of producing oil, gas, or coal, which has been published in the Journal of Climatic Change. Wow. What is this? So I haven't looked at this, but I will for Thursday. I'm going to download this right now. Tracing anthropogenic carbon dioxide and methane emissions to fossil fuel and cement producers from 1854 to 2010. There you go. Well, that'll do it. In Gitmo Nation, the Netherlands, lowlands, was big news that, they had got to put more windmills in to save the earth. And the government said, you know what? By 2020, we have to have 16% of all of our green energy coming from wind, and it will cost 70 billion euros that will have to come from the private sector, which, of course, means there'll be tons of great incentives and, subsidies.
It all comes out of the taxpayer's pocket.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, can we close the gate?
Private sector. Yeah, goodbye.
To the gate, to the gate, to the climate gate.
Well, since we're doing
a lot of mileage from that clip.
Well, since we're doing callbacks, although it's not exactly right.
It's the no agenda swine flu minute.
Not entirely swine flu, but good news. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, that would be the FDA, said on Friday it has approved a vaccine made by GlaxoSmithKline for an H5N1 bird flu epidemic. The vaccine, Pandemrix, will be added to the national stockpile and will not be available for commercial use. However, interesting to note that it will not be available for commercial use. It's just being sold directly to the stockpile.
What? It could be they could be selling them water.
They could be, but they're not, because this is the first H5N1 vaccine approved to contain an adjuvant. Remember that? The hamburger helper.
Weeks and weeks talking about these adjuvants.
Adjuvants are illegal in the United States.
Because they can't, they're illegal. That's why they can't sell it to the public, as you mentioned.
Yep.
And so they don't want to do anything with these things until they can. So what we're going to see, what you're suggesting, even though you're not suggesting it, but I think you're suggesting it, what we're going to see is a move to legalize adjuvants while the stockpile is being accumulated.
The FDA approved the vaccine for use in people over the age of 18 who are at increased risk of exposure to the virus. It would be distributed by public health officials if needed. Oh, man. Come to the schoolhouse. Get your mandatory shot.
Well, it could be. There's also they've made this exception. I think there's another thing, which is a story I had clipped, I think, last week or the last show, and it was in the backup files, which if you had, you could play it, but I'll just tell you what it was. The FDA allowed, and I think this was a precursor to what you're doing here, they've allowed a unauthorized experimental vaccine against a certain strain of meningitis to be used on all the students at Princeton.
Oh, really? With an adjuvant? With an adjuvant?
I don't know whether it has an adjuvant or not. All I know is it's not a legal vaccine, but they're saying it's okay in this situation because there's an outbreak, supposedly, 5 people, I guess, at Princeton University, which is if you're going to start killing the elites, that's the place where you start. That'll get to your attention. And they've rolled out this European vaccine against this very crazy, and it's always weird when you have a very specific vaccine against a very weird and unusual and rare strain of the meningitis. Bacteria.
Well, so let me continue on this because there's some interesting things, because as you pointed out, this news release, which is from Reuters, is all about the adjuvant. According to Glaxo, some 30 million doses of pandemics were administered across Europe. 800 people, mostly children, developed narcolepsy. And same story, or same today, we have Sweden preparing to offer an official apology for the children who suffered narcolepsy following vaccination against the flu from the flu shot, which is this very flu shot. And so now apparently the FDA and GlaxoSmithKline says there's insufficient evidence to prove the adjuvant was to blame. Adjuvants have been used in vaccine for diseases such as diphtheria and tetanus for decades. Now a new, more powerful generation of adjuvants, including AS03, which is squalene, is contained in the vaccine, is being developed, and the safety is being tested. So I think you're right. I think this is all about the adjuvants, which means two things. One, it's hamburger helper, so you can sell more, or you
get more for your money,
more bang for the buck. Exactly.
And we talked about all this before, squalene in particular.
But here,
about when what year was the swine flu bull crap?
It was 2009.
Yeah, we had covered it to an extreme on the show.
We did.
And now here it is again. These guys never let up.
Now, here's something that I got really excited about. In the Federal Register today, and of course, it's always Bad Chad there in Boulder, Colorado, who's posting all the Federal Register ditties to the NoAgendaNewsNetwork.com site. Very exciting, John. This is a red book game. We can participate. The Federal Register, the CDC, through the Federal Register, has announced the requirements and registration for the... And I got to do some echo. Predict the Influenza Season Challenge. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, registration opens November 23rd, closes December 2nd, 2003. Register by sending an email to flucontest@cdc.gov. And here's what we need to be eligible for a prize. And by the way, the prize, $75,000.
Nice.
We must be at least 18 years old. I think we got that one covered. Registered to participate. Yes. But let's see. What do we have to do? We have to... in order to win, for the contest, one $75,000 prize will be awarded. Your tax dollars at work. The winning competitor will be recognized on the CDC Influenza webpage. Okay, here's what you need to do. You need to correctly predict the start of the flu season, the peak of the flu season and the end of the flu season.
All right, well, we can give it a shot.
Well, but there's something else going on here. Obviously, it's probably to promote like some bogus Google thing.
No,
or
there's
Twitter
something going
thing.
on. You're right. There's obviously something going on. They wouldn't just come up with this stupid contest without some rationale, some reason, because people are going to say, why are you even doing this? What's the point?
So let's think about it.
The point is awareness.
Let's think about it for a second. I'm sure we can nail this.
I think it's simple. I think instead of looking for something complicated, it's just I think it is awareness. I think it's to have the contest started, and so everyone's thinking about it, and then then you've got the peak going, and you got to get those selling more and more and more vaccines, more flu shots at Costco, more flu shots at Safeway, more flu shots everywhere, and you can always talk about you can get a flu shot. Well, maybe the flu shot, if everyone gets flu shots, then the season will be shorter, and it would all be part of the contest, and I don't know.
I'm trying because I just looked up. Let me see. 2013 National Influenza Awareness Month. No, that was August, so we already missed that. So it's not going to start then. Wouldn't it have to start pretty soon?
I would have thought that it started by now.
Well, no, it
usually starts in October.
No, it can't even start before December 1st because the contest doesn't open until December 1st.
What a scam!
$75,000. Seriously. Don't you donate that to the No Agenda show? Stupid.
If everybody who listens to the show, put a link in that shows, if everybody who listens to this show just enters, the likelihood of one of our listeners winning and then giving us like $5,000.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, hey, I won. Here's your $222. Dance for me, suckers.
Make it rain, bitches. Exactly. Yeah. That's how it'll go.
Right.
Are we doing that? Wait a minute. Okay.
What?
All right. Bitcoin. We got to talk about Bitcoin.
Let's talk about Bitcoin.
I got to talk about Bitcoin. Let's see what the current.
We didn't get we have yet to get a theme for the Bitcoin segment.
No one has sent me a Bitcoin segment, and we got to stay on this because I'm now convinced. So 1,000 by the end of the year is obviously going to be hit. We already hit 900. So what is it now? I have 841. 837. Oops, we just went down a bit. And
they have to make it fluctuate a little bit so it looks real.
So there's a lot of things going on that I find very interesting. And the main one, and this is something I saw on RT, and I've never seen this woman on RT. This is a new woman, and she has another, we're always looking for the perfect
Is this the one with the deep Russian accent?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen her.
So she's got the right accent, but not quite the right look. And
she looks a little too older Russian.
Yeah, and the accent it's a lot of it is spot on, but it's a little too aggressive.
Yeah, it's too accenty.
Yeah, too aggressive. So she has on Patrick Merck. Now, Patrick Merck, and this is what caught my eye, because he already had caught my eye at the Senate hearing. He is the legal advisor on the board of directors of the Bitcoin Foundation.
I saw this segment. Is that funny-looking guy? He's got like a weird hair pattern. He's kind of bald.
He has a beard.
He's got a douchebag beard.
He got a beard, yeah. So have you seen have you looked at the Bitcoin Foundation website at all?
These guys the Bitcoin Foundation guys are showing up everywhere.
Yeah.
I never heard about them until like a week ago.
Well, it's been around for a while. If you go to bitcoinfoundation.org, here's the board members. Gavin Andreessen, who is the, he began his career at Silicon Graphics. He left the Valley, CTO of early voiceover IP startup, which means I failed. Company making multiplayer online games. Most recently, the developer of the Bitcoin digital currency project, whatever that is. Mark Karpeles, I like this description. Mark currently serves as CEO of Mt. Gox, one of the oldest Bitcoin businesses in operation today. He is the mastermind who created the current trade engine and the multiple currency platform. Who puts that in their bio? I'm a mastermind.
Mastermind.
And we have Mickey Malka, the sole general partner of Rabbit Capital.
Ribbit.
Ribbit, sorry. So there's the VC in there. John Matonis. This guy's interesting because he's a press guy, a money researcher and crypto economist from George Washington University. John advises startups in Bitcoin, gaming, mobile, and prepaid organizations. A tech contributor to Forbes magazine and editor of The Monetary Future. He serves on the editorial board of Bitcoin magazine. And then we have
this guy was previously the CEO of Hushmail. Remember them?
No. Yeah,
Hushmail was
like a private, secure email. What happened to them?
Well, they apparently they said the NSA came. I don't know the story, but either the NSA came knocking or their security was crap, and it's just they couldn't keep it up.
So these are all guys who are building businesses around this. And then Patrick Merck, interesting businesses. He's the principal and founder of Engage Legal. And he's basically a PR guy for, Engage Legal. We are laser focused on discovering new and innovative ways to provide value and deliver results for our clients. We specialize in gamification. And of course, Bitcoin is the biggest game on the planet right now. I say Bitcoin is a bigger game than Grand Theft Auto 5. Virtual economies, specialists in loyalty and rewards, and alternative payment systems. So, yeah, that makes total sense. And previously, Patrick worked in business and legal affairs at Big Door. BigDoor.com, which is also loyalty marketing. Now, the more I look at Bitcoin, the more I love what I'm seeing. Because, this is not a currency. This is a game. Although I think there was this guy who said something very interesting, and maybe it might be in this clip that I have. And I liked what he said, that Bitcoin is a protocol for transferring value on the internet. And I like that definition, by the way. I like it a lot. It still doesn't mean it's a currency, but I wanted to just play a couple minutes until we're bored of this interview, because everything he said, everything that comes out of his mouth is interesting to listen to as a member of the Bitcoin Foundation, which of course is a part of the Bitcoin community. Because without the community, it won't work.
Both play a role. Speculators help with price discovery, and of course consumers use it as a currency. So I think that's likely to be the trend with Bitcoin as well. The difference is that it's supply and demand right now, and the demand is far outstripping supply, and that drives the price up in these parabolic curves.
Just for my edification, John, you would agree that this kind of supply and demand that he's talking about, that this really is, it really is not a currency. It's kind of like a penny stock, which is really nothing. It's no ownership or anything behind it.
Well, it's more like a derivative than a penny stock.
Right, a derivative just being a piece of paper and a promise.
Right.
Yeah. But again, I'm going to say it's a game, and it's a great game. It's a huge game.
And there's no evidence that it's not manipulated because there's no oversight.
It doesn't matter. Who cares? Richard Branson now accepting Bitcoin for his space flight, which to me is proof that there's never going to be a space flight. You'll be training for 20 years. Oh, we're on the Vomit Comet again. We're training for weightlessness. Hey, Richard, man, when are we going to go up in that thing? Yeah. Stay tuned. It's coming. Just send me your Bitcoins.
But eventually we'll settle in at a valuation that is fair for mass consumer adoption.
Okay, this settling in on a price that is fair, I don't think that can happen. I'm looking at it from a gaming perspective now. I don't think this can happen until all the Bitcoins have been mined. And what 11 or 12 million are done, so there's 9 or 10 million still out there. I think this is going to continue past the $1,000. I think it's going to go to 2,300 is my next mark after 1,000. It's just going to keep on going because everybody is in on the game. Everybody sees that if you get in now and you continue with the hype, it'll just keep growing and growing and growing.
When we get to that point.
Absolutely, but I'm sure you heard Bitcoin skeptics comparing this new currency to a Ponzi scheme or warning of a possible bubble. And you know that, like in the case with housing bubble or high-tech bubble, the problem was not in the actual, assets that were behind those industries, but in the amount of speculation that surrounded it. So it seems that the same thing is now happening with Bitcoin. A lot of speculators are drawn to it.
Well, I kind of love the accent, but it's a little too much. And it's also, you know what I mean? It's a little harsh. It should be a little more, there's no sexiness in her.
Right. She needs, that's exactly, from the consulting perspective,
yes.
when we play the mean executives.
Yeah. It's like, hey,
yes,
babe.
She needs to have a softer, it needs to be softer and a little more mellifluous.
In fact, here's how the meeting would go. Babe, can you sex it up a bit for me?
Maybe. I mean, that's, who knows what's really happening. No one can even give you a good answer on why the price of a widely held and publicly traded stock like GE goes up and down on some days.
Oh, hold on a second. Yeah, I think I can. There's a lot of reasons why a widely held stock. So first of all, he's comparing Bitcoin to GE stock.
That's a good bit. Think about it.
It's a good bit, but it makes no sense. Because the stock in GE, there's a perceived value of ownership. And there's lots of things that make a stock price go up and down besides PR and marketing. There's all kinds of things like dividends or deals that are done. There's all kinds of things. So dead executives.
So it's hard to predict why or how the Bitcoin price is moving or what's underlying it. Whether it's a bubble or not is suggestive that at some point it will eventually hit zero. I don't believe that to be true, so I wouldn't necessarily call it a bubble in that strict sense.
Bubbles don't hit zero when they pop.
Yeah, I don't know why he said that.
Why did he say that? Dude, when the housing crisis happened, did every house become worth zero?
No, but I'm going to presume that these guys in the Bitcoin Foundation, I'm going to presume that maybe they're not in on the Satoshi Shakamaka Nakamoto thing who created it, but they are the guys who have the most vested interest in making it work, i.e. continuing to rise in value against the dollar. So everything they say, you got to take as a promotional activity.
Certainly there are going to be price surges and corrections. We'll probably see more of these along the way, again, as supply and demand work themselves out, as more and more consumers come into the system. Mm-hmm. It's probably going to be a few years while that happens. And that's one of the reasons why I caution people. This is a very high-risk environment, and it's really not ready yet for your average everyday investor to
again, the investor word,
trust their savings to it in any way. Anybody who puts money into the system now should expect that they could lose all of it.
So he is talking like it's an investment, not a currency. And this is the Bitcoin Foundation General Counsel. So please take that for what it's worth.
Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think is the fair price of a Bitcoin unit at the moment? Would you yourself buy it for $900?
Sure. I mean, if this technology
go buy it,
reaches even a fraction of its potential, then $900 would likely be a bargain. Especially if it's used
it's a bargain. No, I think it's a bargain. I think until all the Bitcoins are mined, this thing has nowhere to go but up over the trending line.
Currency in the future. Now, it's also possible that Bitcoin could have an extremely useful purpose if it was valued at 10 cents. Just as a payment mechanism. But most likely it's going to be worth a lot more as more and more people use it, as more and more people see it as a legitimate alternative for payments online, for international remittances, and as a store of value.
So here's what's happening, John.
You might as well invest in Brazilian reals.
No, I disagree. I think and I'm going to put my Bitcoins where my mouth is. I think that what's happening here, why is Richard Branson getting in on this, and why are all these people jumping in? Because they understand the game, and the game is, as long as the coins aren't mined, as long as we keep the hype going, people will want to get coins because you get the coin and a week later it is increased in value. It's going to go on for a long time. Nothing seems to stop this thing. Nothing. So it's a hype, and it's a hype of epic proportion. People love it. It hits. I mean, whoever came up with this was such a genius. And we saw a $147 million valued transfer of Bitcoins. I mean, it makes so much sense.
This is the Beanie Babies.
Yeah, but it's
that I've been looking for.
Yeah, but it's going to go on for at least 2 more years, maybe 3.
The Beanie Babies thing looked that way too, but when it collapsed, it was just out of the blue.
Right, but
I don't think it can go that far.
No,
I don't think
it can.
I would bet. In fact, let's put it down. I would bet it's less than 2 years this thing is done. You're saying more than 2 years, or what?
I'm saying 2 to 3 years. And actually, it's until all 21 million Bitcoins are mined.
Well, actually, that's not right, because when all 21 million are in play, then you can't make any more. It should go up more.
It might. But I think the supply and demand, because then, actually, I think the beauty is then it'll go in reverse. Then it'll start to split, and we'll see derivatives, and we'll see micro satoshis or whatever, millibits or whatever you want to call them. And I'm thinking I should open up a Bitcoin thing for the daily source code. And I'll publish the address so anyone can check. And I won't sell a single one. And for the next 3 years, every single time I get a new Bitcoin, regardless of price, whether it's $1 or $10,000, I'll do a new show, and I will not sell them until all the Bitcoins have been produced, or right until all of them have been mined. Then I'm getting rid of everything. And with any luck, I would be 100 millionaire. So I think I'm going to do that.
I would say I would go for it.
Yeah. Because no one's going to send me a full
The
Bitcoin.
Beanie Baby craze started apparently in 1995 and went through 99 and then crashed along with the .com phenomenon. So these things are always in parallel. So I would have to say 5. So it's a 4-year cycle. In terms of a fractal, it's 4 years of popularity. And how long has the Bitcoin thing been in play to the extreme it has? Maybe a year.
If you really look at the extreme, under a year, yeah.
Okay, well, then you would be right. It should go for 3 years more and become completely crazy if it's going to follow the pattern of Beanie Babies. Because Beanie Babies were around. I mean, they really began in earnest in 93, took a couple years before they started catching on. Then the fad, where you had TV stations, actually, an entire network on the Dish Network that was devoted to buying and selling Beanie Babies. It lasted a couple years, and they were selling these things like crazy. And all these, and the nutballs that were involved in collecting Beanie Babies. 4 years, the whole thing was a 4 year fractal. And we have this thing maybe, I think I first started hearing about this to this extreme about a year ago. So yeah, you might be right about the 3 years. It could go on for 3 more years. That would be, so it wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea to buy one for $900.
I'm not going to buy, I haven't bought any. I'm not buying any.
No, you already got them.
Yeah, I want people to give.
Or mine one. You could probably mine one in a year and a half.
I'm not going to, hey, I got one. I got a coin. No, I'm going to do.
How do you know you have one?
You use the software to mine it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got me a Bitcoin. So here was something that in this interview that now, although I looked it up, and maybe I'm misunderstanding because of the Russian accent, because the Federal Election Commission has not allowed this to happen, and she says they have. But if this happens, then Bitcoin could go to 1 million.
I was surprised to learn earlier that the U.S. Federal Election Commission said that Bitcoin could now be legally accepted as political donations. And the question I would like to ask you is whether you see any potential for using Bitcoin as a political instrument, for example, for expanding the U.S. influence around the world in a fashion similar to which the U.S. dollar is now being used.
Could you imagine if you could accept campaign donations through Bitcoin? Can you imagine?
Yeah, I can imagine the corruption.
Well, exactly. So it's in everybody's interest to say, yeah, this is very valid as a currency, and we should be able to take donations with it for elections. Yeah. No. This, you know what? We are keeping to our standpoint that this is not a currency, but as a game, Wow. This is big. It's much bigger than I ever thought.
You know what's interesting about this, again, the cycle and the fractal, is that if the Bitcoin thing actually we say it just started when it was that during the Silk Road period, we'll say that's the moment, or that era, the Silk Road era, is when it began. It's going to go 4 years. That really does take us to the 2017 market crash.
I like that thinking.
Which follows.
I like that thinking, yeah.
It follows the Beanie Baby prelude to the .com crash.
So we could be spot on. 2000. Well, what's going on here? 2017.
Yeah.
Now,
that's the big one.
But the cool thing is, no matter what happens, Silk Road or Bitcoin stolen, all of it's like the warning on the cigarette packs.
And here's a Red Book prediction. A Bitcoin, as long as these magazines are still in business, the Bitcoin logo on the cover of Time magazine.
Ooh, yeah.
Or Man of the Year.
Thing of the year. Nice. No, it would be Satoshi Nakamoto as Man of the Year. They have a shadow, because we don't know, a shadowy outline of an Asian fellow, and a Bitcoin logo. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But just like we know that, when you say you can get anal leakage, you might have suicidal thoughts. Smoking these cigarettes will give you lung cancer, which looks like this on the package. People go out and buy more. They want it more. So here is the latest PR for Bitcoin, which is it's so well done. I'm jealous that you and I didn't come up with this, John.
The latest controversial site to surface from the dark web is Assassination Market, a crowdfunding service that lets people anonymously contribute Bitcoin currency towards the assassination of public figures. So far, there are 6 names proposed on the site, with the chairman of the US Federal Reserve, Ben Bernanke, being the highest priced target, with over $70,000 against his name. The list also includes US President Barack Obama and the director of the National Security Agency. When contacted by Click, both the US Secret Service and the FBI declined to comment on whether they're investigating the site.
So essentially, one of these groups has set up a honeypot.
Yeah, of course.
It's kind of genius if you think about it.
The whole thing is genius. So I'm getting
it's a honeypot to find whatever idiot is contributing to this gets what they deserve, as far as I can tell.
Well, I'm in. I'm going all in. I'm going all in.
What are you going to contribute? What do you mean going all in? You're going to contribute to Bernanke's being shot?
No, I'm becoming a full-fledged member of the Bitcoin community, John.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be...
you have a bunch of coins.
Yeah, I do, but I want more.
Then you don't want to sell them at 1,000. You want to wait until I would say the January 2016, get out.
January 2016.
Even though they'll probably be hotter then than ever. Yeah. It looks like they're going to double again. Yeah. But get out.
No, at least 2,300 for sure. But I'll publish the address.
No, I would say 10 grand.
10 grand. Yeah. All right, so I'll publish it so everyone can see what I have, and I won't sell anything until January 2016, and I'll do shows.
I think. Yeah, and then you can retire. We can close the show down.
No. I'm taking you all out for Russian hookers and blow in Vegas, making it rain, bitches.
How many Bitcoins do you have?
I'd rather not say, because that's not a good idea.
Before on the show, I think it's like 8.
Yeah, because if people know how many I have, they might come and kill me for it or steal my computers.
Well, it's less than $1 million at the highest, what I believe would be the highest price. I mean, 10 grand, maybe.
Yeah, so that's why I'm going to work for more.
If you go to 20 grand, then you got $1 million.
I got a couple of years. I can work for more, and then I can retire in the lap of luxury. That's presuming someone will give me dollars for my Bitcoins at the time.
The problem with doing this is hanging on to the bitter end is that you freak. You're at some point, I would say in 2015, which is just a couple of years from now,
I'll be freaking out.
I would sell half my stash.
Okay, let me just explain one thing. I was most unhappy in my life when I was rich. So I'm not really even wanting to be rich. And
I'm unhappy as a rich person?
Very.
Oh.
I mean, not very. I thought I was happy. But in retrospect, in hindsight, you're not happy. No. It's a hassle. It's a big-ass hassle. Unless you put your money away and never look at it.
Well, nobody does that. They end up managing their money.
This is what you're always doing. Well, we could rent the yacht for a week. It's only $200,000, but well, what else could I do with that money? I mean, that's literally what you go through in your head. It's the stupidest conversation. It's bad. I really did not enjoy it. In retrospect, I thought I was great in living it up.
Well, you were living it up.
Yeah, I spent all my money over a 10-year period. Best thing I ever did. So I really don't care. So I'm going to put a technical indicator in, which you say is, what is it? It's 2016, January 1, 2016, or $10,000, and that's when I'll sell. And then everybody, it's Vegas.
It's not the way it works.
It will work that way because I don't care. I really don't.
Well, maybe if you really have that kind of fortitude. But most people, 10, it could go to 20. They say it's going to go to 20. I'm not going to sell it at 10. Could go to 20. It's 20. Sell it. No. I'm keeping it because they said it's going to go to 40. I'm going to keep it because it could go to 40. Yeah, it's going to go to 40. That's the ticket. And then the next thing you know, it's $5.
Yeah, but that's not me because I don't care.
Okay, well, if you say so.
I mean, if you look at, that little experiment that we did with the Silk Road, and I bought some contraband.
Yeah, what was it that you bought?
Yeah, it was contraband that, now is like, that was a very expensive $900, bag. But I don't think of it that way. I think, I really enjoyed those drugs. You see, I just don't care. I really don't. So those will be the technical indicators, and I'm all in. And,
all right. We'll keep it. We'll update the technical indicators as necessary.
Yeah, I mean, we need to live off of no agenda donations, so we're never going to do Bitcoins for that because that's dangerous.
Yeah, well, yeah. No. We never.
No, I think it's dangerous. I don't want to do that. We agree. Have you changed?
Yeah, no, I'm not in.
Are you changing your tune now?
No, absolutely not. I'm going to stick with the old-fashioned way.
I'm with you, though. I'm
the way George Bush would have it. Don't send us your Bitcoins. Just send us your cash.
Yeah.
We just need cash. I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water.
Or Bitcoins.
Just send your cash.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab.
Yeah, on No Agenda. In the morning.
I mean, we might as well do it. This is going to be a short list anyway, because guess what? No Bitcoins here.
Right.
No millionaires.
So let's start with Ian. Ian Darling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he's in my town of Port Angeles, Washington.
Yeah, this is our limoncello babes brother, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Longtime douchebag, freeloader, boner, pirate. Please de-douche.
Let me do that right away.
You've been de-douched.
This amount is equal to just over $1 per episode since I started listening. I was getting sick of Alex Jones seed commercials and pretentious Radiolab crap.
Have you ever heard that Radiolab?
No.
From NPR?
No.
It's kind of like this. So we investigated Bitcoin, and we talked to this guy. Hello. That's kind of how the show goes. Anyone who's heard the show will agree with me.
Okay. So I Google searched for the best podcast in the universe and randomly found the show.
Wait a minute. Does that work? Does that work?
At first, I thought the morning zoo effects and corny ITM BS was all serious. I barely made it through the intro until Adam casually mentioned Whitney Houston. You had me at Illuminati sacrifice.
If you Google best podcast in the universe, we do show up as the top. Now, let's see if we do best podcast, just best podcast. What happens then? Podcast awards.
Been hooked ever since. Lots more to say, but I guess I'll have to give you more money for that. Thanks. 100,000 billion for a priceless program. Please give a big shout to Dame of the Drink, Elise, Sir Bong Hits and Bourbon, Ryan, Sasha and PT, and Eric the Wizard. Please play Reverend Manning Go to Hell.
Do we have a Manning Go to Hell?
I don't know that we do. I know we played something like that.
We have... No, I don't think we have... Well, we have this if you...
You got to talk about that!
That's all I got.
Chris Abraham, $123 from Arlington, Virginia.
Yeah, and he will be knighted today.
He will be knighted. I'd like to be Sir Chris of Kalea Pohaku. Okay.
Kalea Pohaku, is that how you pronounce it?
I think so. Kalea Pohaku. It looks Hawaiian.
Kalea
and
Pohaku.
Every letter is pronounced. So it's Kala, or it could be Kalai Pohaku.
Oh, man. I'm going to screw it up. Okay.
Just make it something. Kalai Pohaku.
He's been working on his knighthood since 10/8/11. Awesome.
Okay, now we have a $111.11 in addition to the $222.22 for a, I guess, Making It Rain segment, which we're not going to do too many of these, but you got Echo now.
Yeah. Let me just
going to go out to Vanessa, of course.
Hold on a second. Get a little mic check.
Hey, this is me.
Oh, perfect. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bonnie, put your hands together for the vixen from Victoria. On the main stage, here comes Vanessa the Undresser. Vanessa likes Vegemite, poodles, and guys named Sam. Fellows, change your name, Vanessa.
Any more? Was that? Didn't we have like another double Make It Rain?
Us.
Oh, well, do us. Back off a little, because, I mean, there's overmodulation, and then there's just mic in your butthole. Okay, here we go. Where are you?
I wonder what you're doing.
Do it again. We didn't hear you. I think Skype has exploded. Are you still there?
Oh, really? Hello?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, try it again. Maybe you should get closer. Now forget about it.
It didn't work out?
No, for some reason when I play the music, then you cut out.
Huh.
Okay, try now.
All right. Same one.
Go.
Ladies and nerds, bumpkins and bonnies, put your hands together for the vixen from Victoria. On the main stage, here she comes, Vanessa the Undresser. Vanessa, my poodles and guys named Sam. Fellows, change your name, Vanessa.
All right. God. I have people calling me. So we were at Halcyon yesterday after the market, and Jane, who was married to Mike here in Austin. And usually it's Mike and Jane together, and we hook up. We have a coffee or something after the market. And Mike was in bed, musician, lazy ass. And he calls Jane. He says, "Tell Adam he's due on the stage." This is becoming a meme. All right, thank you.
Each one.
And thank you very much, Dame Sam Menner.
Dame Sam Menner.
For making it rain for Vanessa the Undresser. Send us pictures.
Don Kuehl in Windham, New Hampshire, $100. Joachim Fornelaz, I guess, in Zurich, Switzerland.
Sack of sevens.
Another sack of sevens from James B. Mann, $77.77 in Ringgold, Louisiana. Mark Milliman, $77.77 from Longmont, Colorado.
69, dudes!
Hi, Brian. Here's the 69ers. Brian Ferguson in Foothill Ranch, California. Josh Morris in Kearney, Missouri. Philip Hartgen in Hamburg, Deutschland. He needs some house buying karma. We'll give it to you at the end. And finally, Raymond Bressler in Arlington, Washington.
Yes, and Brian Ferguson, who came in with our Swazelnoff 6969 from Foothill Ranch, California, will also be a knight today. So he's completing his knighthood with a Swazelnoff.
69, dude!
And since we had 4, we can play the jingle before and after.
Jared Barton, double nickels on the dime from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Got a birthday coming up of somebody. Stephen Nelson in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, double nickels on the dime. Anonymous 5502 from Casper, Wyoming. Bruns Clothing, our clothing guys. 5150 from Waterton, South Dakota. Now's the time to start promoting BrunsClothing.com, B-R-U-N-S. These guys they custom make these.
Made in America, by the way. By American grandmothers.
By old grandmothers in South Dakota. unbelievably warm or warm jackets for extremely cold weather. This is the kinds of stuff you can wear in South Dakota. With
a concealed carry pocket.
Yes, exactly. And all kinds of other stuff. You can put the No Agenda logo on there, and they're not expensive.
No, and they're really warm. They're good looking. They're made in America by American grannies.
Yeah, they're actually for most people, I would say they're too warm.
They are sewn on the thighs of virgins.
Yeah, onward. Baron Sir Dr. Sharkey, Jackson, Tennessee, came in with 50. These are all $50 donors, the last of the group.
Anyway, he has a little note here. Vaccine alert. Are you aware that the new, quote, high-dose flu vaccine that's being pushed for the over 65 crowd is being pushed as more effective than standard flu shots? Well, you have to vaccine 218 seniors to prevent one from getting the flu. Of course, it's more expensive. I think the Baron Sir Dr. Sharkey's always all over the medical stuff for us and hands us all kinds of interesting info. We appreciate it.
Okay, first of all, I have to play to remind myself.
What?
I'm playing it now. Unfortunately, it's not coming over.
What are you doing?
Matche. I'm playing the pronouncenames.com, so I get Matche's name right.
How come it
just
didn't play?
Gives me nothing but grief, the Calgary Albertan. Matche
Stolowski.
Jeez.
Matche Stolowski.
Matche. Kyle Bauer, Don Greb from Lansdale, Pennsylvania. David Trotsky, Romeoville, Illinois, and finally Benjamin Smith over here. Hey, Benjamin, in Oakland, California. That concludes our donors for show 568, and we'd like to get more people on the bandwagon for this next show, which will be on Thanksgiving. We actually have to work on Thanksgiving, the family day for most people. You probably be listening to the show on Friday because everyone's busy on Thanksgiving.
Although I think a lot of people will enjoy, when the full family's like drunk and like, the tryptophan
playing the show for the party.
You can, say, hey, can I take the dogs out for a walk? And, you jam the buds in and you go for a nice long walk. And we'll make sure it's uploaded on time so you can grab it. But otherwise, Friday is fine. It's a bogative holiday, and I'm going to be here all alone.
Oh, you poor baby.
I have invitations, but I'm like...
Like, who invited you to do what?
2 separate Obama bot families.
Oh, they feel sorry for you? That's pathetic. If I were you, I'd say no.
Well, they had invited Mickey and I to come over, and it's like, well, Mickey she's working in L.A. For the most of the week. And so she said, but Adam's here. Oh, well, yeah, of course he can come over.
Yeah, he could be the fifth wheel.
Hey,
we don't mind that.
What am I going to do, though? It's like, I have to clean up.
Hi, Adam.
After the show, I have to shave and clean up, and, I don't know. I don't know if I don't know.
Just go to the local deli the day before on Wednesday, grab yourself a turkey sandwich.
Tuna sandwich.
Get a tuna sandwich.
Get some mac and cheese.
Get a turkey sandwich and wrap it up in foil and then put it in the refrigerator. I put it in the refrigerator.
I'm going to make myself some mac and cheese and take pictures of it and post it on Instagram and Pinterest.
So we're cooking a 7-pound heritage turkey.
Oh, nice.
7 pounds. This thing's the size of a large pheasant.
Yeah.
It's the
size of John Kerry's head.
Some chickens are bigger than this thing.
Okay.
So anyway.
All right. Well, what we would like, even though John says it's cyclical, is some more support for the show. If you don't mind. But first, let me hand out the karma to everyone who requested it. Thank you very much for
You've got karma.
Your courage. Thank you, everyone under $50 who do that purposely to remain anonymous. And, of course, thank you so much to all of our monthly donors. It really means a lot. And as you can tell, we will have a knighting of Brian Ferguson. It does add up. Eventually, you can get there. And, of course, that means you get your lovely knight ring. Now, before we do anything else...
Dvorak.org/NA.
And we'll do a real quickie here.
It's your birthday. On No Agenda.
It'll be a real quick one. Jared Barton celebrates on November 28th. Happy birthday from your buddies here at the No Agenda Show.
It's your birthday, yeah.
Now let us do our two knightings. So let me just get everything all set up here. Let me grab my sword. And can you get yours for a second?
Yeah, here.
Very good. All right. Chris Abram, Brian Ferguson, step forward. Gentlemen, both of you are now going to join the Round Table Do Knights. Chris Abram, I hereby pronounce thee Sir Chris of Kellyup Hawkback. And Brian Ferguson, you now become Sir Brian. Both knights of the No Agenda Round Table. Please come on by for your opium and warm orange juice, your hookers and blow, your geishas and a bucket of fried chicken, hot pants and booze, wenches and beer, Rubenesque women and rosé, bong hits and bourbon, or just some mutton and mead. And go to noagendanation.com/rings. And please, even when you go there and you fill everything out, it might take longer than 4 weeks. You don't need to go tweeting saying, if 5 shows ago I still don't have a ring.
It's that same guy.
That guy keeps showing up. I don't know what to do about him. All right, want to talk some Common Core?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's important. What I will not do, because it just makes you just crazy, is put everybody's examples that I get through email on the show. There's just no time for that. But
I like a couple of them, though.
Yes. Well, first of all of them are in the show notes. Every single one of them. And I have I've uncovered some stuff now that it really just it blew me away.
Okay.
Let me see. Where should I start? We'll do emails later. Okay. There is something called and you have to see the whole video. It's some parts are interesting. The Freedom Project is now that's a religious group, but they've latched onto the Common Core thing very, very early on, and they uncovered a document which I now have in my possession, which is produced by the Department of Education, and really shows you what the idea is behind the Common Core. And I, of course, have taken this document. I've marked it up in multiple places. I'm going to give you, John, a URL in a minute so you can take a look at it, but I don't want you distracted while I get this started. The title of this is the Critical Factors for Success in the 21st Century. This is done in February of 2013, the U.S. Department of Education. This is the Common Core, and the idea behind the Common Core is, when I saw this, like things popped into place for me. Common Core, promoting grit, tenacity, and perseverance. Grit, tenacity, and perseverance.
What?
Yes. Now, we'll get into what this means, but this report was developed under the guidance of the U.S. Department of Education, and of course the authors want to thank, my goodness, a whole slew of people, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, it just goes on and on. We'll get to some of the foundations in a moment, but this document talks about the key things that our children need, and that is these grit, tenacity, and perseverance.
Now, is this from the Department of Education during the Arnie Duncan era?
Yes, this is from February. This is from this year.
Okay, so it's this year. So it is the idiot from Chicago, Arnie Duncan.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
In the executive summary, I'm not going to read everything, but I have to do some of the important points so you can understand what we're talking about. How can we best prepare children and adolescents to thrive in the 21st century, an era of achievement gaps that must be closed for the benefit of everyone in society? Rapidly evolving technology, demanding and collaborative STEM knowledge work, changing workforce needs, and economic volatility?
Okay, they got STEM in there. I like that.
Yeah. Well, this is basically saying we need a new kind of people, a new kind of worker.
Yeah, because there's no jobs.
There's
economic volatility equals no jobs.
There's a growing movement to explore the potential of the non-cognitive factors, attributes, dispositions, social skills, attitudes, and intrapersonal resources independent of intellectual ability that high-achieving individuals draw upon to accomplish success. If you didn't understand what that meant, it says, in this brief, we take a close look at a core set of non-cognitive factors: grit, tenacity, and perseverance. And this is what your children will be taught. And when I heard the word grit, John, I went, holy crap. I have heard this word 1,000 times. 1,000 times, I tell you. You know who uses this word all the time?
Who?
The president. I take you back to February of this year when this was released, when I first heard it, in his State of the Union.
Tonight, thanks to the grit and determination of the American people, there is much progress to report.
All right. I just grabbed some random things from September.
After a decade in which they'd already been working harder and harder just to get by. It was a crisis from which we're still trying to recover. But thanks to the grit and determination of the American people, we're steadily recovering.
And I just pulled one from October.
Think about it. Globalization and technology means you can go just about anywhere. But there are a whole lot of reasons you ought to come here. We're not just the world's largest market, we're growing. Thanks to the grit and resilience of the American people, we've cleared away the rubble from the financial crisis, and over the past 3.5 years, our businesses have created more than 7.5 million new jobs.
So this is very interesting, this use of the word grit. And this is not by coincidence. We know that this guy never does anything coincidentally. This is coordinated. And I will
definitely.
And you'll see.
And I think it's interesting he used grit and determination. They changed it to grit and resilience.
Go back to the document. What will it take to shift educational priorities to promote not only content knowledge, but also grit, tenacity, and perseverance? This is an important and exciting time to stop, take stock, and prepare to move forward. New and emerging trends in research, policy programs, and technology are providing unprecedented opportunities. And it goes on to say, persistence is now part of the Common Core state standards for mathematics. The popular media also reports on interest in these factors. No, the popular media is not doing that. And then, by the way, John, go to grit.curry.com. Do that now before anyone else in the chat room sees it. And you can download the marked up document, because now is the time you'll want to start looking through that, as I have a couple clips to share with you. The first thing I will share with you is the Common Core Data-Driven Instruction. DDI is what this is called. So this is a document that shows how big data drives your kids' education. And this is a local, I think this might be Tennessee or Missouri. And here's a few educators talking about how great data-driven instruction is, and how fabulous it is for these people who used to be called teachers can use this great...
Go Microsoft!
They even have a Microsoft tune. All right.
Data-driven instruction gives our teachers an opportunity to gauge where students are, their strengths, their weaknesses, to determine what we need to target for individual students that are missing particular areas in the curriculum. An example would be like this is, we take our vehicles to the shop once a month to get the oil checked. And why do we do that? Because we want to make sure our cars keep running. We don't do it once a year.
This is just, our children are like our cars and like our trucks. You got to take them to the shop once a year, have them checked out, have them kick the tires.
If we wait until the end of the year, something's going wrong with the car and it won't run smoothly. Well, that's very similar to what we do with data-driven instruction. Every 4.5 weeks, we have common assessments, and from that data, our teachers break the data down with the principal and the curriculum team as well. We look at where our students are performing really good at, and we celebrate those growths.
We celebrate the growth. Celebrate the growth.
We celebrate them with parents, with students, teachers, and make a community aspect. And then we look at the areas that students have what we call hot spots. For example, little Johnny may not be doing so well in math.
Oh, little Johnny.
For a particular month, he may have some issues with fractions, and that data of the 4.5 common assessments we take will pick that up. And when it picks that up, our team immediately goes to work to determine what Johnny did not get. We're going to reteach those objectives to Johnny. We're going to pull him out 20 minutes a day. We're going to work with him.
We take him out back, beat the crap out of him.
Parental support is probably one of the backbones of what makes this work. and we make sure that our car's running smoothly, if you will. We want to make sure that...
Back to the car analogy.
Every student is successful, and that's your student that scores minimal to your student that scores advanced. Every student is important. Every student can learn. Every student can grow.
Data-driven instruction.
All right, so this goes on and on and on, and then, but the end of the day is we don't want to discourage anyone. Everybody wins.
Yeah, everyone's a winner.
Everyone's
we all
a winner.
share a secret. Can I mention one thing here?
Yes.
Which is interesting. If you go to the wiki page and look up grit, which has a page dedicated, essentially, the definition of grit is perseverance and tenacity. This is essentially the same word repeated 3 times.
Yes. Well, if you read the document that I just gave you the thing for, grit, tenacity, and perseverance are multifaceted concepts encompassing goals, challenges, and the ways of managing these. We integrate the big ideas from several related definitions in the literature to a broad, multifaceted definition of grit for the purpose of this report. Perseverance to accomplish long-term or higher-order goals in the face of challenges and setbacks, engaging the student's psychological resources such as their academic mindset, effort control, and strategy and tactics. What? So not only...
this is all coming. If you look at the donors to this, the people that behind this particular...
Wait, before we go there, because I also did the donor thing. And that's important that we talk about the donors behind this crap.
Well, first I just want to generalize. Bill Gates was a lousy student.
He's a dropout.
He was impossible in high school. He couldn't stay in college. He doesn't know shit about education.
Well, if you look at the other organizations that are in on this. It's the Rakes Foundation.
Yeah, Jeff Rakes used to be Bill Gates's
bitch. He used to run the Gates Foundation.
And then he was the guy that should have been the CEO now of Microsoft, but Gates took him over to the foundation and had him be the CEO of the Gates Foundation. So essentially Bill knocked on his door and said, "Hey, you're given to this. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
We'll do some work."
Well, and then we have the Stupski Foundation.
Now that one I'm not familiar with. You might be.
Yeah, no, I have it all in the show notes, of course. The Lumina Foundation. So the Stupski Foundation, which is interesting, if you go to stupski.org, stupski.org, since this report was released, which was February, you'll see an update from Joyce and Larry Stupski. In September 2012, after carefully considering our commitments, intentions, and life circumstances, we decided to wind down the work of the Stupski Foundation. So this foundation that financed Common Core has been closed. I might want to mention with a $111 million in the bank. So they've shuttered with all that money they raised or put in themselves, God knows. The Moore family is in on this. That's Gordon Moore from the Moore's Law. So that's all, all Silicon Valley stuff. Now, so back to the Freedom Project. If you look at this document that I gave you, John, the grit.curry.com, and you'll scroll down, you'll see something called effective sensors that is a part of this. Effective sensors. There's actually pictures in the document of what effective sensors are that these children will be hooked up to with their free laptop and or tablet/iPad. Here from this presentation video is an explanation of the effective sensors.
These are effective sensors that the Department of Education has developed and plans to use. That's what this document is all about, is how do we measure the students effectively? There is a facial expression camera. There is a posture analysis seat. There is a pressure mouse. And there is a wireless skin.
Are they becoming Scientologists?
Sensor.
Yeah, you stepped on it. But yeah, so there's a facial expression camera, a posture seat, a pressure mouse, and there's even a strap that you put on your wrist so that you can
e-meter.
Yes, e-meter, correct. Now, what I liked about this video, and I remember these are religious guys who put this video together, but they're drawing the right conclusion. This ties into the bullying that we've been tracking for so long. Not only is the bullying to stifle First Amendment freedom of speech, it is also about homosexuality, or, as I might say, heteroflexibility. And it will tie right into bullying. Listen to the conclusion that is drawn here, which I think is correct. It will happen this way, and it's particularly with these effective censors.
And under the guise of anti-bullying legislation, if the government is teaching a lesson, or the government teacher is teaching a lesson about homosexual relationships, homosexual marriage, and your kid makes a face, or your kid slouches in her seat, or the pressure on your kid's mouse intensifies, right? Or blood pressure and pulse go skyrocketing, well, then it's fair to reason that your kid has the wrong attitude about homosexuality.
Okay, stop. That's clip of the day right there.
Well, 16 more seconds.
Okay, play the 16 seconds out and follow it immediately with clip of the day.
You got
that kid is being taught to be a bully. And if your kid learned from you, mom and dad, that your faith tells you that homosexuality is wrong, then you're the bullies. You're the ones who are abusing that kid. These are the kind of things that these things will measure.
Yeah.
Clip of the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. You win today's show.
Oh, but wait, there's more.
I'm sure, but right there it says enough.
Here's
the kid squinted. He's got to be taken away from his parents.
Yeah.
What are we living in Sparta?
He flinched about the gay thing. Here is there's a new meme in here that I had not heard of, but is all a part of Common Core.
We had a parent talk with us at a recent meeting
just last week.
And the correct answer to one of the Common Core tests was, I think the problem was as simple as 6 times 7. And the correct way to answer that was to draw 42 circles. And I think the child was in third or fourth grade.
And the child wrote 42 for the answer and got it wrong. Because the lesson was, the mother told us, that you're being too close-minded. We want you to be fluent in math. In other words, we want you to be able to talk about what math is. We want you to be able to explain why math is useful. We are not interested in you being able to do math. It's much less important to get the right answer. The word that she used in terms of the way it was explained to her at her school was estimative math. That the purpose of math is to be able to estimate, to be in a ballpark, to be able to have a sense of how math should function.
Yeah, it's kind of there.
Oh my God, that's another clip of the day.
No, I can't accept it because I want these segments to flow and it'll just keep going. Here's a couple of crazy things that have come in from parents, and this is it's becoming a Twitter meme now. Common Core, I guess, is the hashtag. Here's a screenshot of the answer key for questionable homework assignments from Common Core for third grade grammar, and just listen to the questions. Here it is. Possessive nouns, directions. Make each sentence less wordy by replacing the underlined words with a possessive noun phrase. Write the sentence on the line. So I will give you the problem and the answer. And it's not so much about the question and the answer as it is about what the question is saying. So 1, the job of a president is not easy. The correct answer should be, John?
The job of the president is not easy. It would be the president's job is hard.
It is not easy. That's what it was.
Wait, that was the original thing. The job of the president is not easy.
Right, but you did it correctly. The job of a president is not the job of a president is underlined. So is not easy stays the same.
Oh.
Okay. The people.
Okay, it'd be the president's job.
A president's job.
A president's job.
Not the A. The people.
A president's job is not easy.
The people of a nation do not always agree. And the answer would be a nation's people do not always agree.
Yeah.
The choices of the president affects everyone. See, this is very subtle what's going on
They're
here.
basically taking people away from using the passive voice but they're doing it using propagandistic.
Yes.
So instead of doing it just normally,
Yes.
with the boy meets the girl. And
let's do it. Let's do a couple more.
The president does this, and the president does that, and the president knows everything.
Wait, no. He makes sure the laws of the country are fair.
Is that what he does? I never knew this.
The commands of government officials must be obeyed by all. Yeah. The wants of an individual are less important than the well-being of the nation. This is what kids are being taught. Third graders. Okay. Now
this is astonishing.
Yeah. Here's something that it took me 15 minutes to figure. You know how you used to have those questions like, if John is traveling on the train from Baltimore and the train is going 67 miles an hour and Pete is coming in from New York doing 100 miles an hour, they will both meet in Florida at what time? You know these problems we used to have in school?
Yeah, it sounds like they'd be easier to answer now with estimative math.
Well, check this out. The assignment is cross out the extra numerical information and solve. A gymnastic meet is 2 hours long. It has 8 competitors, and each competes in 4 events. How many events will be scored? And I had to look at this for like 15 minutes until I figured out that what we used to have to do with like 3 variables.
Yeah, well, in this case, my guess would be you cross out the length of the event.
the 2, right. What is this? Why even put that in there?
So you can cross it out.
It's dumb. It's completely insane. And then we have, let me see. Then there's a whole bunch. There's stuff in the show notes, just tons and tons of bubbles. Let me do
this is all propaganda brain training. The crossing out the thing has some function. So you have spurious information that you get rid of. And so you get to the core of the problem of the whatever it is, and then you obey the government's orders. I mean,
something like that.
There's something like that going on.
Here is a not
do what you're told.
Not specifically Common Core, but it comes from My Big Campus. And My Big Campus does surveys that are the parents are not asked if they if it's okay for their kids to take these surveys. You just take the survey. This is from Leo's Elementary School. I'm not quite sure where Leo's is. Welcome to Leo's Elementary, and it's online, by the way, in a Google Forms document. Welcome to Leo's Elementary PBI Student Survey. Tell us what you think about our school. Please answer these questions to tell us about you and your school. Answer each question honestly. Your answers will be kept private. No one will be able to tell that your answers came from you. Thanks for your help. Of course, you're inputting it on Google from God knows what machine at school. And I'm going to scroll down here to what do you do after school or on weekends? Select all that apply. Play outside, play in a sports team, dance, play an instrument, act in plays, homework, get tutoring, after-school program, or read. During the past 12 months, have you seen another student with a weapon, like a gun or knife at this school? Remember, your answer will be private. Yeah, I'm sure. I feel safe in my classroom. Agree, disagree. I feel safe in the hallways of my school. Agree, disagree. I feel safe when I walk outside of school. And there's more things. This year, have kids done mean things to you? This year, have kids on the bus done mean things to you? Have you been bullied this year at school? Have you told a parent or teacher about it? Yes, no, I haven't been bullied. Have you been bullied this year at school and told an adult? Did the bullying stop? Have you been in a fight at school this year which you and the other person hit or touched one another? Have you ever been robbed at this school? Have you ever smoked a cigarette, even 1 or 2 puffs? Hey, kids! It's Freddy the Firewall! Have you ever drunk beer or alcohol? If you have drank beer or alcohol before, how many times have you drank in the past 30 days? What kind of English is that? If you have drank beer or alcohol before, how many times have you drank in the past 30 days? Is that correct English?
I think it is technically.
Have you ever taken an illegal drug? How many days a week do you usually eat breakfast? It just goes on and on and on. Thank you for taking the survey. And it's powered by Google Drive. Yeah, where all your information is secret and confidential. It's bullshit. Then I have the These are all documents. Just go look at them in the show notes. Benchmarking for success, ensuring the U.S. students receive a world-class education. 5 steps toward building globally competitive education systems. 1, upgrade state standards by adopting a common core. Well, we've passed that. And it keeps on going. Action 4, hold schools and systems accountable through monitoring, interventions, and support to ensure consistently high performance drawn upon international best practices. This is slave training, people. This is not school. This is totally slave training, and it really, really needs to be stopped. We may be too late. This has been going on so long. We didn't even know about this.
Yeah, but the February 2013 things means that's when they shifted into high gear. And that means that we're still within a year of the real push. So I think there's at least we can cause a stir.
Well, we're going to have to support the teachers like Luke, who sent me an email. Adam, your reporting on Common Core standards has been spot on. Throughout my college education and now my first year of teaching, I felt very irked by Common Core standards and the systems that are in place in the public education system. From teaching in Nevada and then moving to Colorado, it seems like the education system is a carbon copy. Teachers and students are truly being turned into drones. I started to do some research after listening to your commentary about Pearson education. I remembered some fairly expensive tests called praxis tests that I had to take in college, and then another test later on in order to get a teaching job. I thought Pearson must have some involvement in this, and well, then I found an ETS praxis tutorial website made by Pearson. That's praxistutorial.com. I also found an interesting PDF. That's the benchmarking PDF that I put in the show notes. The publication of the benchmarking test was funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Basically, teachers and their job securities are held accountable by the scores the students receive on these standardized tests. The publication boils down to the U.S. having to compete with other countries for the best test scores. Well, there you go. We should just have every country, just test score bonanza. Somehow meeting these benchmarks is supposed to save our already doomed economy. Hope this might provide some more insight into the whole Common Core standards abomination. Yeah, well, thank you very much. And yes, this is exactly what is going on.
Well, it's more than that, obviously, because of the watching your facial movements and all the rest of it. This is, I think, slave training is exactly what we're talking about here.
Truly, truly, truly slave.
Well, you got to do. How do you manage? You got 300 million people, and you have to manage these people so they don't tear up the place. And of all things, of course, you don't want them taking your stuff. This is always the big deal with the elites.
Don't take my stuff.
And Gates has got a lot of stuff. He's got more than the average bear. So he would be more inclined to find these programs important, because if anybody doesn't want people taking his stuff, it's got to be Bill. So, yeah, no, this is a depressing report. Thank you very much.
Hey, 4th graders in DuPont, Illinois, are reading a biography of Barack Obama that's raising eyebrows amongst St. Clair County parents. The book, which supplements the school's Common Core curriculum, blames television for the negative behaviors the first African-American president picked up as a teen. Quote, when Barry looked in the mirror, he saw a young black man, but he didn't know how to be black, and no one was there to teach him. He decided to act like the black characters he saw on TV. He started acting tough. He cursed. Was that what it meant to be black? As he got older, he started smoking and drinking. He tried drugs. Was that what it meant to be black? And then this book goes on it segues straight into the president. Some people said Americans weren't ready for that much change. Sure, Barack was a nice fellow, they said, but white voters would never vote for a black president. Other angry voices were raised. Barack's former pastor called the country a failure. God would damn the United States for mistreating its black citizens, he said. This is in the book. The white people wouldn't have it. It's very, very sad that this is going on. Wow. Yeah. It's very, 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 very sad that this is going on. And I would say, if you have kids, you need to pull them out of school right now.
Homeschooling.
It's the only way.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this page that I just have.
Unless you want this. I mean, some parents might want the little robot kid.
So I'm really not sure how to continue with our analysis of this. I think we just might as well stop, because it's what it is. You can send me as many stories as you want. It's all more of the same. But people have to stop this from happening. Grit is the key word.
Definitely depressing. Well, that kind of puts a crimp on the show.
Oh, well.
I had a Blitz clip thing lined up. Actually,
it's not. Do you want to do clip Blitz?
Yeah, let's do something else. I was noticing some since we're talking about subtle propagandistic kinds of weirdness. As you know, I like sometimes go. You had this music you were playing earlier that would be playing in the back of what we're chatting away, and there'd be some music playing.
Yeah, hold on a second. I can get that.
Yeah, so we can talk while the music plays, so it sounds like, we're producing the show. Adam?
Yes?
Yeah. So how was your flight back?
Well, the flight was almost uneventful except for the lady who started screaming about her husband having a heart attack.
Did they, by the way, do an emergency landing?
No, but I was prepared for it.
I was in 3 emergency landings. We had one, the weirdest one was I'm flying from China to the United States, and somebody had a heart attack. And so they landed in Tokyo, but you couldn't get off the plane because of passport control. And it was curfew for taking off. And so they're going to have to leave us on the plane overnight, sitting on the tarmac, which isn't it's true.
Yay!
But so somehow, I don't know how it happened, but somehow somebody paid off somebody and we took off.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my story. Yeah, so we got out of there and it was like, oh, geez, that was good. Oh, anyway, because you can stop the music now.
What am I doing with the music? What was the point?
I just want to say this is kind of like we could probably do the whole show with some sort of music bed.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I've never noticed it before, but the top show on television, which is NCIS, has a music bed
the whole time.
That is not only weird, but until I made this clip, which is the weird NCIS clip, I have never heard it before.
Oops, sorry.
Wait. Yep. And now I have to explain the clip. And the only reason I heard the bed was because there was a long two silent spots in here, and then you could hear the bed going. Now, the way it is, there's an NSA woman. She comes in, and Abby, who's the lab tech, says, I don't know who's listening in, and blah, blah, blah. And the woman says, who could be listening in? And then there's a long pause, and Abby writes on a piece of paper, NSA, and holds it up.
Ah, okay. Right.
And then but you get to hear the bed. And then the woman, because the NSA doesn't do that. And then there's another pause, and Abby writes BS. And then the clip goes on to his end. But what I want you to listen for is forget the actual bullshit propaganda, but this musical bed, it's like a kind of music that is, I swear I've never heard this before, but I think the whole show has got it going on.
Talking to me. No, I was talking to myself and a pen. But now I'm not talking anymore because who knows who's listening. Who do you think's listening?
No, don't believe everything you hear. I mean, we don't randomly listen to conversations and phone calls. I'm serious. We need a court order just like you. We've had a few bad apples, but we're good people out to uphold the law and make a difference.
So you haven't bugged my phone?
Look, I can prove I'm here to help. I drew this using DC Examiner's description of our bogus FBI agent, fed it into the NSA database, and got a hit on a guy named Rudolph Stalin.
Rudolph Stalin. Rudolph Stalin is an American citizen with a history of international espionage and strong political ties to Russia. And a very nice mustache. I wonder if it's supposed to be ironic.
Yeah, I think it's covering up the crap acting and probably some other audio anomalies they couldn't figure out.
Well, I think I have to go back now. I don't have it because I always erase these things when I make the clip. But because I've never heard this before, and I don't know why. And I'm wondering if the entire show doesn't have a musical bed for some reason. And I'm wondering how many TV shows do.
I've never liked this. MTV always wanted to do that. And I always said, no, when I'm talking, I don't want music under me. I don't want distraction. It's always the same music. I don't like it at all.
Well, I don't like it now that once I heard it, but when I only heard it because of that pause, then I now I'm hearing it. I think it just is, I agree. I think it's totally distracting. And it's like kind of odd because it's just a vamp. It's the same thing over and over. It's grinding away. There used to be a Law and Order show. If people ever want to watch some old reruns, they have a track running underneath that thing whenever they're out of the office and they're in the out and about. And the track consists of a dog barking, woof woof woof, and then there's some just random street noise, and then there's a siren, and then the dog barks again, and this is going on very subtly in all the shots where they're roaming around the city, and it's really a short thing, and they play it over and over and over throughout the show to give atmosphere.
I think this you can probably trace this back to Miami Vice. Because that's really which the title, the working title for Miami Vice was MTV Cops. And I think that's, we had John Hammer doing all the soundtrack for that, and every moment had this music. I think you can trace it back to that. That's kind of when this started. But you know what? I don't watch any of that. Ever.
Yeah, I know you say that, but if it's a reality show, you'll watch.
Hell yeah. I got a bombshell email here, John. Bombshell. This right here, this email, will make listening to the No Agenda show valuable. You want some inside information?
I'm waiting for you to read it.
Adam, for a variety of reasons, if you read this on the show, please keep my name quiet, although my coworkers will likely know who it is.
Uh-oh.
I work for the company that provides the storage back end of healthcare.gov. Well, 99% of the government, actually, but that's the big glaring one right now. Couple of things. The initial slowdowns. While I don't discount and completely agree with your analysis from the software side, hell, I still don't think it'll work. One of the initial issues was they had, you're going to love this, a cable plugged into the wrong port. Without going into too much detail, we have a port that allows for out-of-band control of the storage controller that shares kernel space with the login console. They had plugged a network cable into that port, which spammed it to the brink that it effectively flooded the login console, which brought the rest of it to its knees. Essentially, they were DDoSing themselves. We've only ever had this problem with one other customer, which oddly enough was themselves 6 months prior. This weekend, I'm part of the team that has to be on the bridge as they replace the platforms they purchased with higher-end ones. Spare no expense? Nah, we'll spare some. They bought the mid-range platforms when really they needed the big boys. Even the sales engineers pointed this out to them initially. What's funny here is that I asked the account rep about backups should something go horribly wrong. Oh, they said, they don't have backups. I started to laugh as this is absurd, but no, they don't, and I was told not to bring it up on the call as it would make them put them in a bad light. Well, not sure it could get much worse, but what the hell? I guess if people can sign in come Monday, I'll eat my words about it being software, but I have my doubts that this is going to be anything more than pissing in the wind. Thank you for your courage.
Wow, stunner. Shocker. Who knew?
But plugging it into the wrong port? Yeah. Really? And no backups?
No backups is actually more of the scandal than plugging into the wrong port. You can unplug that and put it someplace where it's supposed to be. But no backups? What kind of methodology? Where's the CTO? Where's that guy with the COBOL and the speaking in the machine code?
Yeah, Don Park. They won't even let him testify. They won't even let him testify.
Well, I was thinking of a niche or a niche chauffeur.
None of those guys.
Those two guys.
You want to do
Vic Kundra.
Do you want to do a blitz or?
I only have 3. I got 3.
Hold on.
33. Blitz.
High School USA, our favorite show. Every Sunday we play a clip.
What's up with bare feet? Yeah. Teachers can be cool guys too, Marsh.
No, your gun.
Oh, that's right. The gun. Exciting, right? Well, a few of us teachers have been a little spooked by some of you students lately. I'm looking at you, weirdo. So every teacher's going to be carrying a gun from now on. And it ensures school safety. I couldn't be more excited.
Neat. But what if a teacher loses his or her temper?
Way ahead of you, buddy. Now, obviously, we can't leave all you students completely defenseless like sitting ducks. So, we've decided we're arming all of you, too, with guns.
This is so cool. I know, right? Guns are the coolest.
Whoa, all right. You heard it here first, gang. The beholders of cool have spoken. Oh, yay! When I call your name, come on up and pick out your very own gun.
I can't put my finger on it, but something doesn't seem too cool about this, Brad.
I know.
Wow, this is great. I get to participate in the Clip Blitz. By the way, was this the new Common Core that I heard here?
It's another No Agenda.
The American Medical Association held on to its long-standing position that marijuana is a dangerous drug and a public health concern. But doctors also recognize that federal efforts to stop the use of pot have been ineffective. It called on the feds and the states to come up with public health strategies to cut the use of cannabis, saying programs are a better alternative to helping people quit when compared to giving them jail time. Former Congressman Patrick Kennedy, son of the late Senator Ted Kennedy, has now dedicated his life to fighting the legalization of pot. He praised today's decision from the AMA, saying it's time people listen to the medical community, something he was preaching when he visited Seattle in July to rail against legalization.
Rail!
The message that there is no risk, no harm to using marijuana, when all the medical evidence and literature, all the scientific research proves otherwise.
That's right.
Bull crap.
Marijuana gonna kill you. It's dangerous, dangerous, dangerous.
I'd rather give drugs out to people instead of, do you want to sell more drugs? In fact, this report is a part of, obviously, a public relations campaign to get more people on drugs. ADHD report.
Oh, crap. I slipped. I knew you were going for it, and I slipped. I'm sorry. I'm slipping.
Slipped twice. The blitz. We're getting blitzed. We're getting blocked.
We're getting blitzed.
It's another No Agenda.
The number of children with ADHD is rising, according to new numbers from the CDC. More than 1 in 10 children are now diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. ADHD cases have been on the increase now for at least 15 years. Experts think that's because more doctors are looking for ADHD and more parents know about it. Well, many consider them the good guys in the snack machine. A new major study says what you've heard about.
What?
Oh, you're playing the next one, right?
Oh, it's all in one thing.
Oh, no, play the. I should have split it off because I did want to bring. I did have a little segue, and the next one should be Nuts Are Good, which is what you were just about to play. That's obviously a public relations move, but I realized that there's some public relations thing going on now because they did it with kale with great success.
Yes.
I still need more recipes, people. But now they're apparently doing it for nuts.
Well, many consider them the good guys in the snack machine. A new major study says what you've heard about nuts is true. They are good for you. The study followed thousands of people for 3 decades. It found that those who ate 7 or more servings of nuts a week were 20% less likely to die from cancer and heart disease.
Woo! Less likely to die. Eat nuts.
Honey, I hear eating my nuts is really going to keep you alive. But don't worry, because we can always make you a Previver and get you some new boobies. Well, I think that should do it, John, unless you got something else for us in our clip.
No, I mean, we do have a long clip, which I'm going to save. Ray McGovern's been floating around on the TV, and he's an interesting character. But this clip is so long, it has to be for an end of show when we have a short show, and I'm just going to put it aside.
Okay, so we'll keep it. We'll keep it. Right. Wow. So much going on, people. And I think we're pretty much the only people talking about a lot of this stuff. Go ahead and see.
No, you think we are the only people talking about almost all of it.
Yeah.
In fact, we don't generally. People always say, well, you're going to talk about this, you're going to talk about that. And I send them notes. You see the notes. I say, this is overcovered by the crackpot media already.
Yeah, the mainstream. The mainstream crackpots, not the good guys like us.
Right.
Oh, man. Well, where to start? We would actually need a 10-hour show just to get through everything I have in the show notes. But it'll all be there for you, 568.nashownotes.com. We'll be here on Thursday On Thanksgiving, we'll be working to bring you another episode of the best podcast in the universe. Please support us at Dvorak.org/NA. And coming to you from the capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA Region 6 in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we tell you to eat your nuts, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll talk to you again on Thursday right here on No Agenda.
The best podcast in the universe. Nap for humanity. Dvorak.org/NA